Hello, I am IBX Toycat, and welcome to Skygloo. This is my series where I've been surviving without ever going below Y200, just surviving with the items that I got from an igloo. This is an absolute wild series in terms of what we've managed to achieve, but my next biggest goal is to get lava and to make it renewable, and to do that, I need to go, and I'm not kidding here, 19,000 blocks away from where I spawned. Here you can see I'm about 3,700 blocks in, but I need to go another few thousand blocks that I replaced, and then thousands of blocks past that. I've gone through an entire inventory worth of spruce logs, and now I must go through all of these, but even this won't be quite enough to get me there, which is why I'm specifically going to mine out some of the stone from this mountain to add to the pile. It's going to be a wild time, but join me for it. It'll be fun, I hope. And if it won't be fun, I might die. This is my longest hardcore world, so even if you're the sort of person who likes cheering against, something happening, then just know that if I lose this world by falling down, which, just to be clear, that is instant death, as well as instant fail. But what's crazy about it is the fact that if I do die, this will be my longest hardcore world death, but I have no intention of doing so. This series has managed to survive against all odds, and we'll be doing great. So with that said, hello everyone. Great to see you, Kat, Vera, Tujova, Antonia, and Chilius Bean, as well as Werp Person. That's a new name. They need to make a new YouTube update where you can click people's names to reply to them on streams. Yeah, I'm kind of torn about. I think that chat is a really interesting place, because in theory, okay, I have a lot of like. This is like just, like my convenience vibe. I feel like chat would be best if everyone was, like saying something that I could read out that would be beneficial to the stream. If you get what I'm saying, right? Like, I hate when I read a chat and it's like, oh, this person is just giving me the alphabet in Wookiee. Or, oh no, this person has decided, that they're trying to look for a recipe for a cake. Not a lot that I can do about that or get from that. And, the same is true when someone responds to someone else. If someone says, oh yeah, how are your kids doing? But to someone else, I can't respond with how my kids do. Let's ignore the fact that I don't have kids for the sake of this one, but I can't respond with how my kids are doing because they weren't asking me anyway. I'll give you some good advice. Don't die. Thank you, KMB. That is the advice that I need. This is a terrifying one, to be totally honest, but it'll be fun. Yeah, it's good to see you though, KMB. We played some good GeoGuessr yesterday. It was very, very fun. I honestly, I've got to say, playing GeoGuessr with a group helps you to realize that, like, oh, it's not that, you are very smart all of the time, or very good at something all of the time. I like activities where, like, because some things you can just be good at or you can be bad at. I think that's probably true for, like, running. I think that there's no such thing as someone who's really good at running, but only on Thursdays. If I race against Usain Bolt 100 times, I have to hope that Usain Bolt gets bored if I want to win. Whereas, if I play chess against Usain Bolt 100 times, I don't know who's going to win, but I bet eventually I might get one. And if we go GeoGuessr, then I might be better than Usain Bolt at GeoGuessing. And indeed, despite that being true, I bet he still beats me every now and then. Have you been able to fix all the issues of PC Bedrock, by the way? No, I'm finding more issues of PC Bedrock, if I'm being, like, brutally honest. So, the most recent issue I found is when you close the game, sometimes it doesn't acknowledge that it's closed. And so you can't restart the game because it's like, it's already open, you dummy. Why are you trying to open Minecraft? So yeah, my list of issues is sadly growing. But they're all relatively, they're workaroundable. I can still play Minecraft just fine. Weirdly, I can't get over this, chat. So, while I was playing GeoGuessr yesterday, my PC was constantly crashing. And while I record Minecraft, my PC constantly crashes. While I'm streaming, it does not. And I don't want to tempt fate on why that is. I don't want to think about it. I just want to say, thank God that is how this be. So yeah, we're just mining a few blocks of stone. If you're curious, because a part of me thinks, like, but shouldn't we be preserving stone? Now that we have access to lava, if we can get infinite lava, we can make a cobblestone generator. And if we can make a cobblestone generator, we can smelt it using that lava. And so we never actually need real stone again. Stone is just an illusion, is what I'm saying. And 2 stacks of it should get me a lot closer to where I'm going. So I'll start with my stone stacks. No, I won't actually. I'll end with my stone stacks. I'll use my regular little sprucey slabs right here. Let's make sure we don't go below Y200, and let's be on our way. So yeah, later this will all be a giant ice highway, which will be fun. But yeah, this is one of my biggest challenges I've ever attempted on a challenge seed, chat. I don't know. I still don't know how the ending will be to this. But I have high hopes. And can you blame me? So now we'll just make a stack, more or less, and then make that. And that's enough to get me going some distance. I think we need to recheck IBX2Cat's credentials. I won the GeoGuessr, just to let everyone know. It's true, Canvey did win the GeoGuessr. So self-centered, he doesn't want us to interact with each other. Thank you for saying that directly to me, Antonio Xavier. Much appreciated. No, I do. What I would like, though, is I would like for everyone... I love when communities forms around things that they enjoy. And a little part of me, you know, my ego does enjoy the fact that, wow, I cannot believe that I'm lucky enough that for some number of people, that community is something related to what we do here. They found it because of me. You know, like, I love that, right? It makes me feel good. I think that one of... In a not... I hope not self-serving sense, I do think that when you really try to plot all of human problems, we find really easy scapegoats, but the real thing that's dragging society away today is the lack of social connection. I think I hate social connection more than the next guy, and I hate that guy for not hating social connection more. But then I also would say that it's one of the most important things, and so the fact that, you know, anything we do here contributes any amount to that is good. The already running issue happened with every GDK Minecraft app. Oh, so it's been around for a while, huh? Very interesting. I'm going to quickly pause. So we get one last little view of this mountain, chat. So enjoy it while you can. We are going far away. Oh, I'm looking at chat that's old because my window is too big. But yeah, it's happened with Dungeons & Legends too. That is interesting to know. So the mouse cursor bug is still in the game. I have not experienced it, but I don't play full screen, so apparently it's not for me. I'm very happy that it's not for me, by the way. So, yeah, I'm surprised you bought a new iPhone to play Minecraft mobile game, because I thought you were moving to Malaysia at the start. So many people made that assumption. And it's funny because genuinely, like, right now, I didn't, like, also, thank you, Mega vs. Prime, for becoming the 404th channel member. It's actually, I think we're at, like, usually the member numbers go up between the streams. When I last looked, we'd actually managed to, this is shockingly impressive, but we managed to gain 20 members in between the stream. So as much as I'd love to say you're the member not found, Mega vs. Prime, you actually were the 424th because of people who joined off stream. Usually it's like a very slow patter down of like gifted memberships expiring and stuff. But yeah, it's been a good time. So Debad Llama says, long time, how is life? Life's pretty good. Yeah, to me, I don't know, it's one of the paradoxes of life is if you really ask me to describe why I'm liking right now in particular, it feels like a low responsibility time. And so, you know, there's a YouTuber who's coming through into my city chat, and he's like, oh yeah, you wanna meet? And I'm like, sure, let's grab it. I like being in the moment where I can just be like, oh yeah, on a Monday at 9 a.m. Sure, why not? Today, chat, I went to a boxing class. I have less interest in boxing now than when I started it, but I was like, you know, that's fun that I can just do that. I feel like a certain amount of spontaneity is like what makes me feel good about life. But also, I you know, it's weird because I feel like where people seem to get meaning is from the things that aren't spontaneous, the more required things. So there's a bit of a complication in that, for sure. But as I am right now, things are good. Thank you for asking. I have a bed on me, so I think I should just sleep in it to make sure, just to minimize our risk of anything bad happening. Because if we stay awake, then maybe something spawns, maybe a fan. I don't know what happens. I don't want to have it, so we won't. Thank you, says Mega vs. Prime. Thank you for becoming a member. It is, I think, I'm really enjoying, weirdly enough, I've hit a real stride with the Let's Play, and I think making the members only ones is what has helped that. Like, being able to have a format where I'm like, let's talk about some stuff, not because I think that anyone will necessarily, I don't have to worry about, like, okay, how does this tie into people who don't know Minecraft, or don't watch Minecraft videos, or don't watch Minecraft videos. We can just be like, let's really sink our teeth into a big one. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it a lot. To Bad Llama, fair enough. I'm glad life is still good for you. Life is going good for me too. Kiwiland is still Kiwiland. No change to that. I've heard a lot of. I've heard New Zealand has one of the worst emigration rates in the Western world right now. Actually, I know of some New Zealanders that don't live in New Zealand anymore because of that. I know multiple New Zealanders. Yeah, and I think that's really interesting because, like anecdotes are like a really bad way to get a better feel for everything. To get a, like anecdotes are just a way to get a feeling, not a fact. Also, isn't this beautiful? Look at the way that warm ocean becomes cold. I'm liking revisiting this pathway because we get to enjoy it rather than fearing falling off the edge. But it really is something, huh? It's yeah, looking at it now, it's really, really cool how that vibe works. I've kickboxed on MMA for a while. If you stick to it a few months, you stop getting beat so much, and it's fun. That is meant to be true, right? That the goal is I've never had that first session someone beats me up thing. I wonder if that would inspire. Honestly, that's what's I've been doing 5K runs, chat. I don't know if I've mentioned that, but every Saturday I do a run around a park, and they give you a ranking. Not just like a time, but literally a ranking. They're like, there were 427 people here today. You came 400th. And for a lot of people, that's demotivational. I love it. I love hearing that I'm in the top 56%. Because I'm like, okay, I can do better. And I think it's really good to do better versus yourself. But versus yourself in a crowd can be inspiring too. Like, I think most people do badly with this. I've learned this from like... Especially if it's recreational. A lot of people, it's just like, measure yourself versus yourself. You'll be the happiest. This is still the best advice if you want a happy life. But if you want to get better at something, in my case, like, if you want to motivate yourself to move your body when your body's like, nah, just sit on the sofa and eat donuts, mate. But, Parkrun, well done. Thank you. Yeah, I had a pretty good one recently. But yeah, it's, like, having that, like... sense of like I need to do this has led me to do some fun things. It means my Saturday mornings are a little more hectic and have less sleep than they would otherwise need to be, but weirdly they are worse and now they are better. The moment I've finished running around, I'm like, the moment I've got my time and I'm exhausted because I have to sprint to the finish line, I'm like, oh, and now it's done, and now I am not running for another week. Since when did they Squid Gamify parkruns? So, they don't kill the last 10 people, sadly. Honestly, though, I would love to see the speed people ran. I think everyone would be crying, so that might put the mood down a little bit. They'd have to shoot you also for crying. But if the last 10 people got executed, do you know how much healthier the population would be? Do you know how... even if you just said you'd execute... I mean, you'd have to execute some number of people to keep the system working, but... I feel like Squid Gamify parkruns is a good idea. That's, There's the thinking. So, yeah, I'm going to make this into a little thing. No, oh, no, I can't waste slabs. I can't be doing this. That is not... Every slab is going to be required for this, chat. I cannot be wasting any of them. I was going to go through... Hey, I love watching your streams of videos while in my survival world. Keep on trucking with some Toy Cat attacks. I will keep on trucking. I'm going to try and get one of my slabs back now. Oh, I got both of them. Just to make sure that it's a nice flat path, because I hate those in the way. Thank you very much, Stride, for saying you watched the... I'm surprised how many people do that. But also, I think it's probably... Like, part of me's like, but this is a video, enjoy... But no. I like, even if it's not me, watch a podcast while doing a big Minecraft build. I've said this before, but there are so many games that are podcast games. I think Black Ops Zombies that I was just playing, it's like... the only way I'm ever going back to that game is with a nice podcast on. I think having some podcast game space in your life is important. I don't know how much podcast game space I have right now. But, like, yeah, having, like, half focus, it's really good. It allows you... It's like, imagine if you could read... Like, reading on a train is better than reading in a field. Because you're doing something while you're doing something. It just hits something in your brain when you're like, I am succeeding in 2 domains. It's the reason why we should Squid Gamify parkruns. If you if you were to have people not just be exercising but fighting for their life, they would do both things better, and you'd feel way better at the end. You know the relief that would come when you weren't being shot as you come past the finish line? As you watch as I get shot so that you get to make it over, you'd be like, oh, my life is precious now. This is the plot of the Saw movies, but it's probably also real. I have appointments to get ready for. It's 8:30 a.m. in New Zealand. Yeah, oh wow, happy morning. Good to see you, Bad Llama. So Kat, do you ever have a build idea that's hard to build in freehand survival, that you plan it in creative? I had my first recently. Weirdly, right, I do have a puristic view that, like, it shouldn't ever be necessary. But sometimes I do find it's useful to just, like, I can't even picture it. So I try to picture it and create, you know, and I find that is actually quite useful. So this is my diagonal path. It's very scary, chat, but it does work. You're just gonna trust me when I say that this works. Although we should probably move this off the main pathway, right? Oh, yeah. Just make sure that it still zigs and zags correctly. Okay, back to it. Oh, yeah. This one feels way worse. But I've learned that you don't actually fall off it any easier. But I do have to watch chat a lot less. People with anxiety would be anxious about the next time instead of relaxed. Maybe that's true. We can tell you don't plan a lot of your builds in creative. Isn't it so much better that, like, I just recorded the Let's Play for tomorrow today. And, yeah, as it came out, I was like, oh, this is fun to watch. There is a part of, if you've built something in creative, it becomes work rather than creative. And so I like to, again, for really complicated builds, it's like you can't avoid it. But it's still work. Like, it's like, I don't know, it's like if you are, if you're really into writing, you should try writing in a sketchbook or something. Even though it's, like, worse because you can't backspace. There's something about things being simple that makes them more, like, creatively freeing, I guess. It's weird to think. Also, wait, what is this, says the astronomy guys? Great question. So this defines a lot of things. The Merriam-Webster, no, I think that, yeah, you're getting in the way of my podcast questioning. Speaking of podcast questioning, I got a tip, but I can't see it right now. Ah, there we go.
Podcasts are certainly my fave, and watching your vids/streams is something I certainly do a lot whilst working on my Minecraft realm. Also, Toy Cat tax should be the only tax.
Yeah, my man. That's advocate for that. You know, it's a little bit. You know, throw the tea in the harbor. I'll concede. But you know, if all tax worked like the Toy Cat tax, where you paid it when you wanted to, how you wanted to, and if the government, you know, if Keir Starmer's up there doing a press conference, why, you know, if Trump's up there and you've paid $16,000 in tax this year, he should be like, oh, shout out to my boy Homie Nation, 646. He wanted me to say right now, you know, thanks for the great work, keep it up. You know, thank you, I will. You know, if you had that, you'd be like, wow, what great value. But instead, it's like, here is some money we will demand from you. You know, it's interesting actually, right? I think a lot about moral relativism, which is the concept that we think we have absolute morals, but we have morals that are applied to our current situation. So as silly as I'm being about tax, for most people, it is accepted, and it would be silly not to accept the idea that, like, yeah, well, whenever you earn money, whenever you go out into the world and do something, obviously, some of that money, you know, like, as long as unless it's cash in hand, or unless you are earning below a certain threshold, or unless, you know, you have the correct way to sneakily change that into a capital gain rather than obviously some of that money, it goes to the government. That is known. That is a known quantity. You'd be silly not to know that. Also, make a petition, I'd sign it. Yeah, I think even if it's like, oh yeah, every year you get a 10% chance to get your name read out, that'd be great. Another idea, right, is This is one I had. I was watching The Running Man yesterday. I think I took the wrong message, economically speaking, from it. But it was, okay, so I think I'm going to make a little space for a bed. But it still makes sense to have the crafting table. Yeah, I think the crafting table bed spaces are such a... It's a good dual use of space, so I think we're going to keep doing them. So, slab up there, and then just to make sure we don't fall off in the night, all the way around we place these. And that is a good benefit. And then we'll place another block there, just to be extra short. We'll put the bed down. And chat, we've now survived 230 days. So yeah, I just watched The Running Man. And while I was watching it, you know, the whole thing is very heavy-handed metaphor. Yeah, understandably, I guess. Oh, so I think I should make these stones into slabs first. At least one of the piles of stones into slabs. Let's make it all slabby. And then let's get back to everything else. Yeah, I'll just have some stone slabs here. It'd be a nice place for them. But yeah, I was watching this movie and I was like, you know, I think a lot of people do feel like, oh yeah, isn't it crazy that you do, you know, like it's a concept that is kind of, it's here and we all accept it's here because it is here. But there's a lot of things like that that people look back on and go like, oh. So so that's the idea of moral relativism, is that there's things that are abhorrent by today's standards, and there's things that aren't abhorrent by today's standards that we kind of know will be in the future. I talk about eating meat a lot. I saw a video of a guy just tearing apart an alive crab and eating it, and I was horrified by this video, chat. And every one of the top comments were all like, "This is the most monstrous thing a person has done. This person is evil." Etc., etc., right? And it was really interesting because they are correct at how I feel about that. But despite how I feel about it, it doesn't change, you know, like, it hasn't changed at the very least the amount of factory consumed, or the factory farming that, you know, like, you have enabled. It hasn't changed the... So I think if I make this into slabs now, I might as well keep all the stone slabs in one place. That seems logical to me. Whether it is or not is a different question. I've got 2 extra stone blocks. I'll just throw them on the ground. And then maybe if I'll leave them there. Future me can come pick them up. But yeah, chat. Oh, be my... see, okay. I don't think that that's okay, right? I think, just to be clear, my Squid Games shoot people at the end. It's not like some fitness regime, right? I guess it is a fitness regime, but I think... Okay. You know, sorry, this comment has triggered me on a whole separate tangent. Because I have fallen... You know, I grew up with a very... not very. I grew up with an overweight mother. Like, I don't know what BMI category she would be in. But, like, whatever the highest one is, right? But like, not like by a ludicrous amount. And what I thought was really interesting was that she would always be the one making fun of fat people. I don't know if this is the same for everyone else. The people who make the most fat jokes are either like 2 very quiet people in the corner of a room, pointing out some, or it's fat people making fun of fat people, right? There's I've heard that this is true for lots of you know, groups like that. When people fear that society is making jokes about them, they'll make jokes about themselves first, or something along those lines. I don't get it. But if you really think about BMI sucks as an estimation of health. Yeah, it's I think it's like the way I see it, it's like you know, kind of going to the relativistic idea, right? Is I think that before we had the science we have today, before we understood how germs actually work, you know, moral relativism is really good and well to say that right now we think that eating animals is fine. Maybe in the future we won't. But I think there's relativism for like how you should run a society. So 500 years ago, we figured like, oh yeah, what if we, you know, like the ways we ran society were messed up on these ideas. We used to believe that miasma was true. So if you look at 15th century aristocrats, they'd have things to cover their nose during the plague because they're like, if I smell the plague, I'll get the plague. And that's really, really basic human instinct. You You know, humans have been for thousands of years worried about it. Like an interesting, I read this from Yuval Noah Harris's anthropology book, but like Sapiens, I think it's called. The idea, if there is like if there's a giant poop on your kitchen floor, even before you understand germ theory, you would know to clean that up. But if you ask someone why to clean that up, why they're cleaning up, they would say, well, it's filthy, the germs. You know, they would have the language to explain why it shouldn't be there. But the actual reason they're cleaning it up is because it smells gross, and everyone just knows instinctively there shouldn't be poop in the place where you prepare food. And so in the I think that's my like, you know, argument. But I think that when it comes to like physical health, if you have one of those really fancy scales, I think you could probably decently approximate, you know, like all the factors that will actually make someone healthy or not. I don't even know if I believe the fancy scales. If I'm really leveling with you, actually. But if you have one of those really fancy scales, then you'd be able to. Okay, so these stone bits have to go somewhere, and I don't know where somewhere is, chat. So I'm just gonna drop them and hope that they land. Oh, they did. Perfect. So, in fact, let's just put the stone shovel down for a second. Pick up the blocks and just place them down. Oh no, that's bad. That's bad. So get that back. And, oh, I guess I've just got to use up these 20 slabs first, and then everything else will be fine. So that's what we will do. And I'll leave my slot filled with them so I remember to go back. What you describe as not moral relativism, that's the elevation of societal norms. Moral relativism is a scourge on society. Ooh, so you're saying, I think that's a really interesting... You know, are you saying that moral relativism is a scourge on society because of the society around you, though? Or would it be that you always found moral relativism to be terrible? But yeah, I think that, like, that we have a lot of measures right now where we don't... Like, I think GDP is another good example. If you're into economics, everyone understands that GDP is, like, the best measure we have to work out how big an economy is. An economy is, like, the most important part of, you know, that leads to how much... If not wealth creation, how much stuff is being produced in an economy. But yeah, everyone knows that GDP is flawed. If you look at like Ireland's GDP, it's way too high because of the amount of money that flows through there, but doesn't really flow through there. And there's the classic joke that like two economists walk in a forest. One of them sees some poop and says, "Hey, I'll pay you $100 to eat some poop." And then the guy eats the poop. And then later they see more poop. And the guy says to the other guy, "Hey, I'll pay you $100 to eat the poop. Since it looked so... You seem to enjoy watching me do it so much." And so the guy gives the guy $100 and he eats the poop. And then, you know, then after a little bit longer, they're like, "Wait a minute. So if I gave you $100 and you gave me $100, did we both eat poop for nothing?" And then the economist goes, "No, that's wrong. Actually, we added $200 to the GDP." With the obvious implication there being that, wait a minute, yeah. You can measure GDP for... Like, it's the same way that if you look at, like, NVIDIA, OpenAI, the, like, endless money around. If you just keep passing money back and forth, that's not doing anything. But actually, that's all we do. GDP is by no means the best measurement. There are multiple other ones. Well, you adjust GDP usually, right? GDP, PBP. That's the one that I would use, at least. Maybe if you think there are other ones too, then that's really fun. I didn't learn about this in my economics class. Oh, you didn't learn about the two guys eating poop? It's an essential part of economic theory, honestly. Am I going the right direction? There's no dasher here to let us know. Hopefully we are, chat. Hopefully we are. If we aren't, we'll find out in a terrible way. But yeah, I think that's like an example of like, yeah, that's as good as we have right now. Although, and I think we have that for like standards, and I also think we have it for like, because you know, there's a certain amount. Also, I love the endless money quip. Economists in the forest. Yeah, depending on the amount of poop those economists eat, they might turn their small island nation into one of the wealthiest countries on Earth. But no, yeah, it's weird because if you actually look at GDP, if you imagine cash, right, because it's easier than card, I withdraw £100 from the bank. I spend that at the nail salon because, you know, need to get my nails touched up. And then the person at the nail salon spends their £100 on You know, like a really, really expensive 4 lobster rolls for them and their colleagues. There we go. So they buy 4 lobster rolls, and then the person at the lobster roll stand spends that £100 on you know, their rent because they need to do it. And guess who's the landlord? Me. I own all the lobster rolls. So in theory, I didn't give any money away, and yeah, I ended up with my nails done, and they look fabulous, don't they? But actually, you know, like everyone benefited from that. The lobster roll guy gets somewhere to sell his lobster rolls from. The nail salon gets lobster rolls, and I get my nails. It's a weird premise, really. Also, this slightly digs into my stats of how many blocks I'm placing. Chat, there is a real chance we don't make it, and I am now terrified. And probably should be. So now we have to put this with that, and then we'll make this into 2 piles. I'll just make a stack all at once. Oh, it didn't correctly do it, but it's fine. And now I'll come back after we place 52 more, since I need to go to sleep at night anyway. So, are you planning on eating any more lobster rolls, says Mermaid Plush? I was surprised. I thought there would be so many people in chat being like, what are you doing? You can't just eat a lobster roll for 20 minutes during the stream. I've never felt so loved as everyone was just like, yeah, this looks good, Toy Cat. This is perfect. You know, I feel like I'm glad that we live in a society that says that's okay. Money's a proxy for labor being provided to make trade easier. Yeah, but then if you think about it that way, yeah, right? Then the money is a worthless metric. The real metric would be how many shoes do we produce, how many lobster rolls do we produce, how many nails do we produce, and how many businesses do we have. And when you think about it like that, it starts to really sink in that, like, oh, we do this in an objectively bizarre way, huh? You know, if you're an economy that only sells shoes, or only, I think houses are a great example, because I think right now we are chronically like starving most of the west of houses or places to live. But if you look at houses, and if we build 100,000 houses a year, but we add 1 million people a year, and as a result and they all start doing work and stuff, etc., then the amount of money goes up a lot because the value of the existing houses goes up a lot. But it would be better if the same thing happened, but there were more houses. But that doesn't show as neatly on a GDP graph. But then that's what, you know, as much as people hate the measure, and it's the same thing as BMI, right? Like BMI is a bad measure, but at some point, because health is so many different things. Like you can be diabetic and allergic to the sun, and be really, really skinny, and that's probably concerning. More concerning than if someone is slightly overweight but is in otherwise, you know, great shape. It gets really confusing. By the way, chat, I got a drink today. It's Sprite plus tea. Oh, I'm so worried. Sprite plus tea. You ever seen this before? I feel like I've heard about this somewhere. But I found it in my local American section of my store. It's actually from Canada. So it says Sprite plus tea, and then Sprite plus fee. Or Sprite plus the, I guess is what that really is saying. With a weird little thing on the end. But yeah, I'm going to give it a little try, chat. Ooh, smells like Sprite. Oh, it tastes like Sprite. Yeah, Ooh, it's got like tea aftertones, though. You'd figure what could make a drink better, add tea to it. Very British response, but I am liking it so far, I've got to say. So we'll make another stack, and then we could probably just, yeah, that'll make a whole extra stack, and then we just have to take the rest of these, make 6 more slabs for each of them. And then if I've done my maths right, that should be fine. Oh, no, it's not fine. So now I have to drop something on the ground real quick. The least important individual item I have is my shovel, I guess, actually. And then we'll pile that in there, and we'll be fine. So I have to come back for this. I'll come back for it on the way home. I'll regret not having it, but it's better that I'm going to need every single one of these blocks, chat, so it's really essential I get this right. It's no surprise that people like your lobster roll eating. Food channels are very popular. But then you could say, like, you know, I I used to kind of be down with this logic. But if you think about how many channels there are for any given particular thing, like, I really, really liked making, like, 10 years ago, when I was getting into travel, I tried making travel videos. Admittedly, like, you know, not following any trends or anything. But it's like, yeah, no one wants to watch it because there's so much of it. Like, you can use the argument that it's so popular as the argument why no one would want to watch me. Like, if someone wants to watch it, they'll watch someone who's already doing it. There's already a T in Sprite, says Grimbly. Oh, you make a very good point there, don't you? There is a T in Sprite. But no, yeah, imagine why... So I accidentally think I said an offensive thing by implying that we should execute people who perform least in an exercise ritual. And actually, you know, without any duress on me to come into this, I think I would like to say that... Okay, so I'm gonna go back and get more slabs because I think I do want that shovel. I'm worried that I want the shovel, but it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. But yeah, chat. I think that I'm gonna do this just entirely just to correct the record. I'm not particularly bothered about you know, there's a type of thing that is only offensive to say to other people who have put it in their head that it's offensive to say, you know? You know, there's a really interesting debate around, like, okay, who is allowed to say, you know, like, what things about... There's really interesting fun things about this, that, like, when you really boil it down, who are you really offending? Are you offending the people that you think you are, or are you offending people who are easily offended? And I think that if you want to do well in life, you've got to not just... avoid... I think it's important not to offend people on a specific level, but also to be clear that you're not offending people for some things. Also, it's good to see you, Dasher. We were just missing you. I was about to go to your coordinates to find where you're at. Good evening. I hope you're having a good Sunday. Are we going the right way? Dasher, that is the question I needed to ask. I sure hope so. I sure hope so. We are 1,000 blocks in, and so if we're not going the right way, I have to just assume that there will also be things here. Also, great to see you, bread and cheese. It tastes like anger. It tastes pretty good, surprisingly, actually. All things considered, shockingly decent. I think that is something that should be said. But yeah, I think I want to correct this, just my own right here. I think that, like, physical... I think there's a lot of, like, baggage around it. But I think that, like, physical health should not be the determinant. But then if you think about it, right, like, that's how you kind of want... If you think about, like, society as a whole, it kind of works that way, right? Like, but... And then... Because I thought about this a few times. Every time I watch a piece of media, like, especially when it's made by Hollywood, there's always, like, a strong message that an author intends. And The Running Man is the movie I just watched. It's about a dystopian future where the only way that people can make money is by going on game shows where they'll probably die. No one has ever not died on this show, but people go on it anyway because they're in rough situations. Because, you know, it's the corporation's not paying them enough or whatever, right? So the original book, I'm pretty sure, based on the fact that it's Stephen King, has, like, a really strong political message. And they kind of have to neuter it to make it, like, work. You know, some Hollywood director, it goes through a lot of things. So they have the point, they make a lot of, like, really weird mixed messages in there. Because actually, even if you are trying to make quite a, you know, like, a anti-corporate point, quite a, in the case of this movie, like, pro-union or pro-distributionist point, you kind of have to, like, start... I think everyone, like, starts with a different, like, beginning place on that, right? Also, okie dokie, I'll check the previous stream, be right back. Did you watch the new Running Man or the proper one? Oh, you think the new one is bad? You don't think it's as good as the 1970s? You can't even say the 1970s is the right time to be alive, Polly. That's not even... you weren't, like... You weren't a real person when that movie came out. Also, Squid Game. Oh, Squid Game has an interesting message too, right? But yeah, I feel like any time that a piece of media gets good enough, the, like, message below it has to be a bit jumbled. Because I think for media to be successful, it has to be, like, massively, broadly appealing. And even when you have a really clear dead tone message, to make it so clear in dead tone to be like, oh yeah, this person has no luck, there has to be multiple like, oh yeah, he has repeatedly failed for insubordination. He repeatedly has anger issues and kills people because of his anger. You have to present a flawed protagonist is the most interesting one. And then that floors the entire thing that you're going through. You're making there was a section in the movie chat. I want to mention it. There's a new one. Yeah, it's out. It's been out like 3 days, maybe. It's a really interesting movie. It's a really, really interesting movie. I didn't realize it'd only been out for a few days. Now I don't think I can spoil it. So I'll just say there's a section at the end where everything falls apart. The movie goes from being like this cool survivalist thing to like they're making a point about how the media works and about how there's a guy he throws away his gun. It's like reverse Chekhov's gun. Like he gets a gun really early on in the movie and then he never uses it. He just throws it away. It's terrible. And there's this woman who's clearly meant to take on like the role of the audience, and it gets really messy. Also, rude. It was 1987. I was 15, and Arnie is awesome. Really, 1980. That isn't that long ago. You know, I'll concede if 15 is old enough to be a real person. Just about. I'll give you just about. Love when the big corporations make the anti-big corporation propaganda. Yeah. It's a really like. I think that's the funny thing, right? Is to get like the Squid Game to get on Netflix, it can't have that deeply anti-Netflix a message. If the message behind the next Black Mirror episode was pirate your Netflix content, I think they would have a hard time getting renewed. And so if that's the message they really want to share, they can never actually really share it. When this movie was really anti like TV shows making stuff up, really anti like film, and then at the end they have to make it all about the one villain who I don't know. It was a really. Is it worth watching? It's worth watching in the way that like. No, I think it'd be worth watching as a movie so you can skip it. I got to this one bit where I was like, I think I should fall asleep and then wake up when it gets interesting again. Because I was gripped by this premise. The Running Man, the idea is you have to not be found in a city for 30 days. But there's people on your tail who are out to get you. It's really tricky to not be found in a city. I can only imagine. And it's really fun to like, I know it's like it's like actually watching the game show because you're seeing how he uses it to survive and how he's like throwing them off at every turn. It's really good, and then it just falls apart for a bit. And so if you could avoid the falling apart by skipping forward, that'd be better. So I'd wait for it to be on Netflix or whatever else. Or they don't know their power is so strong it doesn't actually hurt anything. But yeah, I think that very, very, very weird. I got it confused with The Long Walk. I think that's also a Stephen King movie that came out fairly recently. So apparently Stephen King's just killing it. But yeah, I didn't realize that was the premise. It's pretty interesting. Yeah. So you have 30 days in a city. You have, or rather, what it is you get set loose. You get a 12-hour head start. It's just hide and seek. But the people coming to seek you have guns. They only find people who are criminals. To do this, the criminals have to hide in the city. But every day, the criminals have to send in a tape of them for 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes off them. It's such an interesting premise. It could be done so well. I was gripped by this idea. They bring up the idea of like, but what if you pre-record the tapes? And then you wouldn't, and then they just don't. They mention it 3 times, and then they never do pre-record any tapes, or at least that it never comes up that they did. It's so long and weird. Also, yeah, if it was like, I think everyone has the thing in their mind, like if it was actually fair, if the people on their tails were following the rules and not using like surveillance or like tracking them, then it would like it would actually be really easy. Hiding in a city and not being found for all that time would be really, really, really easy. I just got here. What are we talking about? This Pickled Witch. We're talking about The Running Man. It's a brand new movie. It's pretty good, but like not that good. It's a good movie that gets wrapped up in confusion and it gets lost in itself, I guess. I looked into it, and apparently it's because they tried to faithfully adapt the books. And so to make sure they had every key scene from the books in the movie, they had to like really make the movie work in weird ways. Like Michael Cera's in there as a revolutionary. It's a confused movie. It's a confused and confusing movie, I would say. But yeah, I got really invested in the premise, and then they just kind of give up on it halfway through. They get halfway into how is he hiding, and then they stop. Also, yeah, you really think that'd be easy to hide for 30 days while people are actively hunting you? Okay, so the one twist they throw in the show, well, it's not a twist, but they don't properly explain it, is that it's like the most popular show on TV, and so everyone is out looking for you. But yeah, I think Wacky Pilled, if you're in a city and you have to hide for 30 days, in reality, it would be quite easy. Like, all you need is a decent disguise. Once you get a decent disguise, you will be fine. So you just need a decent disguise. And as soon as you have a decent disguise, you then just need to find the most, like, no TV interested part of society and camp out. Or, you know, honestly, go into the woods and camp somewhere that no one will find you. Because think about it this way. Like, again, without surveillance cameras, if they're playing fair, if they're actually looking for you using clues, there is no clues that you went out into the woods for 30 days. So go buy a bunch of food. Buy, like, 10 bottles of olive oil. Buy some... Like, buy the bare minimum you need. Buy, like, 5 liters of water. Buy the bare minimum you need. Survive in the woods. Basically doing nothing for 30 days. You would always win. Because every city has woods in it, right? If you want to go, like, well, you can't be in the woods, Toy Cat, because that's not the city. Then it's like, okay, go find, like, find a hotel, get to the hotel, you'll do good. Dogs can track you in the woods. But that assumes that the dogs have your smell already, right? Where are they getting your smell from? There's a UK game show that did this, I think it's called Hunted. Oh. Also, I did not hear Pickled Witch. Thank you for letting me know. Is Hot Fuzz accurate to an English village? Yeah, Hot Fuzz is... The thing that makes Hot Fuzz most accurate is how the council rules everything. And how there's a bunch of elders who get to decide on how the rest of life is lived for everyone. Small side note, by the way. I just want to point out, I found my first pale garden. That's actually pretty cool. This is a very rare biome. So to accidentally just stumble on one on my way somewhere, actually kind of cool. Oh, we don't need the crafting table yet. So I'll still just... I'll go a little further. Are they not allowed to... Yeah, they have... So they have cash. They have cash. Hot Fuzz is so funny. Yeah, Hot Fuzz is one of the better... I like Shaun of the Dead. I think Hot Fuzz is, like, a little better, personally. But, yeah, I think that... Except now I know to look for you in the woods. Yeah, but with a big enough woods, you still wouldn't be found, right? With big enough woods, it still becomes impossible. Because in the show, in the actual movie, there are people who actively every day they're out in public, surrounded by people. There's a woman who has like 10, you know, like ladies of the night with them, and they're going out to nightclubs and casinos, and it still takes them 11 days to find them. So, like, the entire thing yells, yeah, it is... Either these people only start trying after day 20, or something else. Also, are you excited for Bedrock being playable? I wanted to mess with conversion a bit more. Yeah, I like it. Again, for me personally, if I'm leveling with you, Dasher, I think the improved input response was fixable for me already. And the mouse cursor, thankfully, I guess technically, like I think there's a weird thing where once something's broken long enough, you start using workarounds where you forget that you even have to fix it. The US has so much woods. Yeah, if you told me I have to pick I don't know, it's very easy to not be found. The reason why people don't go and get lost when no one can find them is because they care about the services that you can only access when people know where you are. Like, if you want access to McDonald's, you need to be somewhere near a McDonald's, and McDonald's aren't in the middle of the woods. At least not yet. I've yet to see one. So let's put my bed down. And then we're good to go. So second pale garden. There was one by the Ring of Mountains you found last time. Was there really? And I just didn't even pay attention to it. I think I'd like to go like over the pale garden to get that like pale effect. But I guess we're good how we are. So 3 more stacks. 3 more stacks. Perfect. And then we can make another 2 and a bit, it looks like. So I'll go for 48. And then hope that I've got that number right. Oh, it's more than right. So we'll go for another 30. Oh, 36, I guess. And then 72. And then there we go. Nice. Okay, so we're starting to get in our stride with this, which is great. That's what I want to be able to say. I am still a little worried that we get a little short of our distance here, but we'll be fine. Wasn't there one on fire? Was the last? Oh, was it the pale garden that was on fire? That's fascinating. And how many blocks out do we start talking about socialism again, says Pat? I won't do it. I won't bring it up. We're going in the right direction, by the way. Hey, chat. Good news. We don't have to turn around. I was correct that it was positive X. I mean, if it was, you know, I'm very glad. We get a nice bit of ocean to look at, another jungle, and a really big pale garden. This is like a cool collection of biomes. It's got to be said. Is socialism just being social? Yeah, that's the real socialism crisis, Josh Jones. No, I've been thinking about this for a while, and it's not catchy, and it doesn't help with my vibe that the thing that is ruining the world is other people. So I don't like that I think this is true. But I do think that basically every major problem we have societally is down to how little we connect with each other. And I think you could maybe you can point to a lot of things for this. But like there's no like have you ever heard this thing like if you think about like how do people date? Like how do people find a life partner or a girlfriend or a human being to cuddle and watch movies with before the internet? And it's like it's actually kind of weird to think about. Like how would you? And the answer is like, well, you find people through friends or through work. That's like or through like if you're religious, like church or a club or like some hobby like that. But it's always one of those 3 things. And so it's kind of weird when you think about it that I think one of the biggest things that school does that is good is it puts you around a bunch of people your age. And I think that's like a surprisingly useful thing. But I think the other thing that it does that's good is like, oh yeah, by being around those people, now you learn to interact with standard human beings. There's something down the pub in it, says Pickled Witch. I can't imagine meeting a girlfriend down the pub in it. Like, that feels a bit wrong. I slapped my husband in the face at a house party. Okay, chat, you've heard it here first. Slap someone in the face at a party, and you'll have you'll have love. Maybe even a marriage. Maybe even some kids if you believe in yourself. So don't slap someone in the face at a party if you don't eventually see yourself having kids with them. Anyway, though, I think there's a book called Against Empathy, which makes an argument that overconnection is bad as well. That's weirdly enough, I would say, as someone I've tried to force myself, like within introvert circles, I try to be the most extroverted person. I think that's like it's a hard thing to do. It's like it doesn't come easily for me. I'm too sensitive. Like I told that story about the party chat, and I'm like, yeah. I don't ever want to host anyone at my house ever again now. Like I'm just not going to. I'm gonna be like, yeah, you want to meet? Let's go somewhere that's fun for me too. Let's meet somewhere where if you say you're not going, I'm still having a good time. That's my new like it's not gonna last, but it's how I feel. So I feel like to be to reach out to people inherently means putting yourself out there and putting yourself at risk of rejection or whatever. But yeah, the 1 year I went to public school, I was 10 or so, I learned that I didn't like people my age as a generic observer. Yeah, and you wouldn't like people your age if you don't go to school. I think that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I think if I went to, if you put me in the equivalent of a school right now, I would hate it. I'd be like, oh, look, who are all these people? But then I also think it would help me understand people way better, right? And crucially also, I think I would make a friend or two eventually. The closest thing you have to school is an adult chat. Outside of the work, right? If you have, I don't have a normal job with colleagues in that way. I have an issue. I feel like YouTubers are tricky people. I feel like now it's a bit better because like running a YouTube channel is a bit more like a business. So it's kind of like, oh, let's speak to other fellow small, medium enterprise owners. But like, yeah, feeling like there's room for a nap while watching a movie is not a good sign for me, says M. Yeah. Yeah, it's very much you know, it's good though, like sometimes you want to nap and you don't want to have to pause your movie for the nap. So if you think about it that way, it's a good thing. Anyway though, so I think that school was the trial of my time in hell. I found my husband when I got off the streets. I was placed in a shared house, and his brother lived in my shared house. Oh, that's fun. That's a friend of a friend, indirectly, right? Bit more tragedy involved, but still. But yeah, I think if you think about it that way, the closest thing you have, the closest thing you have as an adult to like a proper school situation, if you don't have a hobby that where you meet strangers, or you don't, or like at least a club, or you don't have a workplace where you meet people. The closest thing is jury service. And so when I did jury service, at first it's this room full of people where I'm like, I'm going to vaguely remember their faces. But by the end, I was having like, you know, we went through, I think this is one of my real beliefs. I think going through good things together, way worse for building friendships than going through bad things together. When you go through some bad stuff with some people, that bonds you way better. That's like something... it's a better glue than good stuff, at least in my opinion. And so yeah, at the end of the jury service, it was really, really interesting to like talk to the other people, like such different life experience. And I found that to be fascinating. I didn't date anyone from the jury chat. You'll be pleased to know. You know, after their performance on that jury too, I've got to say I would not. I would not. Gotta, you know, those women let down the justice system that day. I've got to say. Anyway, yeah, I think. What about going through Toy Cat streams together? You know, I do think. So we reference this a bit, but there's a fair amount of you know, negative emotion in these streams. I don't promise, like, oh yeah, if you show up to a Toy Cat stream, it's all solely good and there's never a bad thing. There are explicitly bad things that will happen to you if you watch one of these streams. Yeah, I think that's a thing. Does anyone know what the coordinates he's going to, said work person? I'm going to X 11,000 and then about the same Z as I am right now. I think it's actually Z like 8,200 or something like that, negative. But it's roughly those coordinates. Okay, our blocks are running out faster than I thought, chat. I am starting to worry. But maybe I needn't. Maybe I needn't worry. If I make another stack, it's going to put me in an awkward situation. It did. So if I now put this there and that there, and then, oh, I've really got to work out what I'm doing here. So 7 there, and then, oh, 7 there, and then we'll take an extra block to make that, and then that makes too many slabs. Oh, it does. So we now have to make more slabs instead of the shovel again. This is a classic dilemma, but it's fine. Okay. Ooh. So is it nearly nighttime? Because if it is, I should think about resting my head. If it's not, then full steam ahead. So I got my shovel back. I've got my full inventory of slabs. Life is good. Yeah, life is good. By the way, I'm still in a lot of pain, more than usual. I have my jaw broken from moving infected too. Oh, they broke your jaw? Oh. It's a positive experience, but I feel like we're all somewhat bonded here. So you think it's a positive experience because you've gone through the trauma, Dasher. You're like, yeah, I like when he stresses us all and makes us all anxious. Also, did Toycat just threaten us? Yes, exactly. Just saying, there won't be a jury for what happens to you later. That's for sure. Just ran the numbers. Blocks are running out at the approximate rate of 1 per block traveled. Wordfish trombone, nailing it. Hello chat, no socialism yet, it seems. Indeed, no socialism yet. Socialism kills the cat, and this cat has survival instincts. Oh, yeah, it is amazing how long this series has gone on for. I'm impressed that this is my longest hardcore world. I do think the premise of a hardcore world is just a bit too overdone. Like, I already think before hardcore blew up on YouTube, it was a bit overdone, because everyone was like, yeah, it's like the hardest difficulty, what's not to love? But now it's like, oh, hardcore, like, there's so many hardcore series that it makes no difference if you play on hardcore or not. Because from a viewing perspective, if you don't die, it's the same as a non-hardcore world, except maybe a worse non-hardcore world, because you have to play so cautiously. Yeah, we all lived through Toycat jumping off a cliff in the Nether without his Elytra 100,000 blocks from spawn. Yeah, that was... See, weirdly enough, that was a negative experience we went through together. You had to all go... You had to deal with that. Also, it was great to see you, Xavier. Thank you to whoever gifted memberships last stream. Also, hey, I'm going to be getting a MacBook so I can play Minecraft Java for the first time. Isn't that fun that Mac is one of the 2 platforms where you can't play Bedrock? Yeah, you enjoy your... I can't even say your regular size salmon because they added that to Java. I started the skygloo seed on Friday, and boy was it difficult getting to that starter island. Super fun though, and sets the Christmas vibe. Yeah, chat, this is something weird. Because of the gaps in this series for, you know, getting the videos put out there. This series is 230 days old in Minecraft days, but in real life days, it's 300 something days old now. So I think this is one of the very few Minecraft worlds out there. Maybe I'm... Yeah, I think most people play more than 1 day per day. This is one of the few long-term worlds where it's older in real days than in Minecraft days. Enjoy your boneless salmon. Yeah, your boneless salmon. Oh, bone meal. Why have you been crushing the bones on there? More peaceful challenges, please. We should do peaceful Minecraft. We should do peaceful Minecraft. It's a silly idea, but a surprisingly good one. So yeah, chat, we've got every one of these blocks is about 500 slabs. 5, 1, 2, 3, 3.5, 5.5. I don't think I'm making it anywhere near where I need to go. I think whatever I calculated yesterday was incorrect. And I'm gonna regret everything. But that's fine. Poor Mac users, no BS bugs and big salmon for them. No BS bugs and big salmon for them indeed. How do they live with themselves? My long-term world may have more days played than IRL days. Honestly, if you think about my world, it's not that far off. If there's 365 days in a year, like obviously my day counter isn't accurate, but if it was, there's 365 days in a year. It's 13 years old, so about, you know, 4,200 days. And so you work out that it's 7,400, and it's like, yeah, technically, again, it's not accurate, but about 1.5 days per day. But that's probably the healthy amount of Minecraft to play. I think, like, anything more than, like, 6 Minecraft days a day, that might be too many, because that implies that you have days where you don't play, and then the days where you do, you're playing at least an hour. A minimum of an hour. Collect all trims the fastest on Peaceful. Did you know you can't collect all the trims on Peaceful? It is impossible. Crazy how a 232-day-old world is a long-term world, but a 1,200-day review is a new one. Everything is relative. In my mind, this is gonna be. So I do agree that everything is relative. By the way, Dasher, even morals. Wow. Yeah, no, I think Actually, you know, I want to go into it because I did wrongly describe moral relativism a little bit earlier. I feel like whenever I get something a little bit wrong, I want people to be like, come on, you can understand what I'm saying though, right? But my job here is not to say vibes, it's to say words, and if I say the words wrong, it's my job to correct them. So there's a really interesting argument to be had about, say, you know, we used to torture people in the medieval times. Or rather, okay, here's a fun one. We taught, to this day, if you live in the United States, you are partially responsible for torture. It is widely acknowledged and known that torture is happening on non-US soil to people the US deems worth torturing. This is not okay. But why is this not okay? It's because torture is bad, right? But is torture bad because we have the means not to? Is torture bad because of some modern rule? Or has torture always been bad? Because if you go back far enough, people used to just torture people. The same is true for slavery. Slavery is illegal in most of the world now. There's a shocking number of like people who are in what you would call modern slavery. But slavery is highly unethical and highly immoral. You should not have slaves. But back in the day, lots of people had slaves, and it was not considered like, oh, you know, that there was weirdly enough, there were like 3 phases of it. There's like the phase where it was gone and people were resentful that it was gone. There was the phase where it was really not acceptable and people wanted to outlaw it. And there was the phase before that where people just went like, oh, yeah, I guess you've worked out a new type of property, like having a goat. I have a person now. And I guess you go far enough back than that, and you get to the real origin where it's like, yes, of course people can be traded. Anything can be traded. Yeah, I think that there's a really interesting case for, is slavery wrong because you live in the time where it is wrong? Or is slavery always wrong under any society ever? Was it wrong when you know, like 2,000 years ago, and it was wrong 50? And like the obvious answer is, well, it's always wrong. It's not that it's wrong right now. It's wrong because it's always been wrong. But then there are lots of things where our values change over time. And if our values change over time, then we are immoral by standards of different times. And that creates a bit of a complication in that rule set, which is that to come up with our values and our norms, we have to use the information around us. But if that information around us is flawed, then we are, or if we don't have the technology to come up with better ways, like if you know, again, if we imagine right now, if you imagine being a vegan in the caveman era, it means you probably starve, right? Because there's not enough food. So in that way, it's like a luxurious belief. It's one that you can have right now because you don't want to look at the video of the man eating the crab. Or you could say, no, it was wrong when you were a caveman. It's wrong now, and it'll be wrong when we can replicate meat that has no suffering. But it's the only thing that changes. You know, the only reason it's not widespread acceptable to be anti-meat right now is because we need to feed ourselves. And so, also, whoa, a woodland mansion, chat. Oh, now that has some potential. If I can just kill. Okay, chat, this is crazy. If I can get... Do I have a bow and arrow on me? I do. If I can shoot... No, it won't work. I'd need to kill a pillager captain, right? Oh, but not even then, because you don't get the thing anymore. Our moral systems have changed over time, but at no point have our moral systems been absolutely correct. We continue to be wrong. Yeah, exactly. I fully... There is no such thing, though, as objectively correct morals, are there? We are always adjusting our morals, trying to get closer to the absolute truth. By the way, this is my 3rd Pale Garden. Just got hit. How things going? See you're still building a bridge. I am, in fact, still building a bridge. It's a good still bridge, too. Okay, so tons of slabs. Too many slabs. And then another stack, maybe? That seems right. Another stack. And then we'll combine these together. And then that makes 18. And then we can make a whole extra, like, 42. No, 36. And we can make a whole extra 36. Yeah, 36 is probably the exact amount we can make. But then we have to do the same. Make this technique, but it works. Okay, lots and lots of slabs. We're getting further and further with each of these. But I don't know how we're ever making it close. The concept of an absolute truth is nonsensical. Yeah, that's a messy undertone in its own right? Like, imagine if in... like, if you think about it this way, what we do today, like, if you've ever heard the term, like, wage slave, it's used, like, negatively to imply that, but there's, like, we use, in the same way that you would probably have to eat meat to survive as a caveman, you now probably have to do a job to survive, even if that job is less than desirable. Like, you might not want to you might not want to become a police officer. You might not want to. Like, I thought I saw something today, chat. It was there's a McDonald's near me. It's a really tiny McDonald's. It's the size of like two pickup trucks next to each other for my American viewers. It's a small McDonald's. So we can make 48 slabs, or we could make 60. Oh wait, we'll go for 72. And then that's slightly too many to fit, right? Oh no, it is slightly too many to fit, so we'll have to drop it. Whoopsie. Anyway, so I've got a so how do I pick those up? I don't even know. There's a tiny McDonald's near me. And there was a bunch of people there, but there was one woman who was just like, I don't know, like particularly looked like she could, I don't know, like I don't know how I'm even trying to say this, like a very standard looking woman. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I realized, like, wait, why is that interesting? Like, this is there's a certain just assumption that like, oh yeah, this is a job that no one wants to have. But yeah, we all understand that it is had. And then also, but like, I think that's like an offensive view in its own right, that like, oh yeah, because I also then saw someone who was running like a souvenir store that had super prime London real estate, and I was like, yeah, no one dreams of running a souvenir store. And so there's always it's always like, if I'm being honest, like I think that like immigrants or people who come from outside being like, wait, I can earn £7,000 a month running one of these stores. Why are people not running these stores? I have to go back and pick up those blocks. They might be the critical ones that make me make it or not, chat. And I will regret everything if I don't have them. So I'm going to run back and go get them. But yeah, like the souvenir store and the random woman at McDonald's made me realize, like, oh yeah, there is an assumption that there are jobs that you are doing and that everyone goes, wow, isn't it cool that you're a human rights lawyer? You defend human rights. Isn't it cool that you're a musician? Or, like an artist. Wow, you do something so cool. But there's an assumption for some jobs like, oh, you do that. That must mean that you need money to survive. And so, like, I think that's like a very, like, I think that's like, I don't know what the word is here. I feel like it's like demeaning, and it's like a sign that we are applying status in places that it probably shouldn't be. But yeah, the concept that there are jobs that are understood that way means that, yeah, if you think of the world as being that way, that people are only doing this because they need to, not because they want to, then it's like, yeah, maybe in modern day standards, we are all slaves to the system. Because, yeah, actually a certain amount of work does need to be done. And so even though you could argue, like, well, if the work needs to be done, we'd better economically incentivize people. It is still a very strong... yeah, I think that... Also, happy Stream Sunday. Thank you, Visit Winchester. Happy Stream Sunday to you too. Also, yeah, how many football fields long will this bridge be? There we go. Anything but the metric system chiming in, I see. But yeah, generally all minimum wage jobs are undesirable. Yeah, that's... I've never... There's a real, like, thing in society against minimum wage jobs. I once I was with my brother once, and he mentioned we were going go-karting, And he made the comment, like, we asked the guy, like, so do you get to race here for free? And the guy was like, yeah. And then he made the comment, like, wow, this place would really, like, pay for itself in the go-karting. And the guy got really defensive, like, they pay us really well here, actually. I'm not on minimum wage. And I was like, whoa, okay, you took that much deeper than it probably was. It was like, you misunderstood. And I think when people are threatened, I think I feel this too. When I'm threatened, I can't like properly comprehend people because I go to like this like deeply tribal mind. And so that was how serious it was to this guy. The idea of like, oh, isn't it cool you work at a go-kart track so you can go-kart whenever you want, was seen as, whoa, look at the minimum wagey over here. And it's like, oh, that's a weird thing, isn't it? I recently learned how horrific many jobs in Victorian Britain were in terms of hour and conditions. Bakers especially. Industrial Revolution did a number on humanity. Yeah, I think that's where we divert. I think we disagree on this, Dasher. But to me, it's like, oh yeah, like, whenever something is done for the first time, it's usually done in the roughest way, right? And so the thing that was being attempted to be accomplished, like, by a broad, rough mess, was, like, getting more output from society all of a sudden, you know, instead of just being agrarian. I think it's really interesting that, like, it makes sense that the worst jobs would all be in the Victorian era. And it probably also, that kind of also explains why it is that every tech revolution we have now has people who go like, oh no. Because, like, if you look at AI as an example, there's a lot of companies who say they are not hiring entry-level people because of AI now. You know, there is I don't believe there's an AI revolution. I think that we're just going through another wave of tech. I've said this before, but I think that, like, I think a lot of people want AI to be a failure more than they, like, have evidence for it to be a failure. I think that it's one of those things where 95% of it will fail, and the 5% that succeeds will actually be pretty big. In the same way that, like, 95% of websites from the dot-com bubble failed, or 95% of video games failed back in the day. Oh, or maybe like 95% of YouTube channels, if we're being honest. There was that revolution where I don't even know who started it, but there was just this thing of like, oh yeah, being a YouTuber can pay a lot if you get big, so just everyone should be a YouTuber now. Toy Cat's Let's Play is objectively the best Minecraft world. Thank you, I agree. Modern slavery is a very real and complicated crime. It takes a lot of our time to lead and investigate, provide support for victims. Yeah, it's crazy how many people are caught up in that. But, you know, how different is it if you work for someone? You know, it is actually very different, to be clear. But how different is it morally that someone has their passport taken from them and they get given a room to live in, but in exchange they have to work a whole bunch and all the work they do gets taken, you know, like it all gets taken off them besides, like, you know, just a tiny bit to spend on food. You know, like, so that, you know, someone gives them free housing, but in exchange takes 90% of their money and a lot of their rights away. You know, like, that is something that is a modern day crime. But someone else would, looking back from the future, people will look back to today and say like, oh, so you work a bunch and then, you know, a bunch of your money gets taken off you without choice. First of all by the government, then by your landlord. And then, you know, there's a bunch of, you know, like utilities that you don't have any control over the price of, and they're always going up over inflation. And then you get some of the rest, huh? That's really nice. And you have to work that job because if you don't, you won't be given a place to live. Very, very sad. Also, I'm a college student and did undergraduate research on data centers, and I can never not hate AI after researching data centers. What's so weird about it? Yeah, I think that a lot of people want it to fail because they don't like it in some way. And there's this, like, I would say, like, troglodyte response of life shouldn't change. Life is good how it is right now, and it should only get better if it's going to get better in the ways that I want. And so, you know, if I was, like, I kind of get it too, that everyone likes how things are now. The only thing you know for sure is that if things change, it might get worse. But if things stay exactly the same, it can't get worse. By definition, things being the same they are right now, It stays very good. Also, I've always found it interesting how water looks from a large distance on Bedrock. Yeah, this water in particular. I can see, like, can you see the fish in the water? Or is that like a sword, maybe? Chat, what do you see that shape as being? Let's do the Rorschach test, but it's my Minecraft world. What do you see in the water right now? Also, we're now parallel to the Woodland Mansion, but I've got, ooh, I can get out to 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,000 blocks. I think I need to go out further than 9,000 blocks. I think it's 11k. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just misremembered the coordinates. Let's hope I misremember the coordinates. So this is 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I'm not feeling great about this. Definitely can't do that. AI is a specialist tool to optimize code and catalog spreadsheets. Yeah, I think about it this way, right? If you imagine like the Industrial Revolution, imagine if everyone all of a sudden said, oh yeah, steam engines are the future now. Everything will be steam engines. And so there's like, you put a steam engine in your laundry machine to make it spin round, because steam is really good at that all of a sudden, right? And you put steam engines in your, you know, in your car, and your... Imagine if we had like that revolution today. Yeah, most things that use the steam engine would probably be stupid, but that's how you find the things that actually need to use it. So the data centers needed for generative AI use a lot of energy, so a lot of data centers are rapidly popping up, and they use so much energy and water, the infrastructure can't keep up with it. So, interestingly, I looked into this one. Again, this is just from my own research. Like, what is truth? Dasher makes a very good point that truth is very, is a very subjective thing. Dasher also makes the point that AI is developing very similar to biological evolution. Yeah, I think that's what makes AI so effective, but it also is what can make it eventually kill us all if we get this wrong. Whereas the steam engine, the worst it could do is kill a few thousand of us if we all get tied to trolley tracks, you know? And then, you know, the steam engine chooses to run us all over rather than to help out society. Anyway, so yeah, I've looked into the data center thing, because, again, I have to be skeptical. I think you should be skeptical of AI, but because so many people just want it to be a failure, you have to look into, like, why is it bad? With a layer of, like, okay, what are we really seeing here? But what's interesting is data centers do use a horrific amount of energy, and it is going to make, like, the US and Canada, weirdly, Canada has cheaper electricity than most parts of the northern US, but the US and Canada have really cheap electricity compared to most of the world. Like, if you live on a Caribbean island, your energy is costing you absurd amounts. You're not heating your home. You're not, you know, you're turning off your lights at night, and you're being cautious about what electrical devices you buy. Maybe you don't own a fridge, because it all has to come from diesel, which all has to be imported by boat. It's really expensive to run electricity on Caribbean islands, and it's also really expensive to get electricity in Europe, because we have super strong, you know, regulations against how much you can add on, and it's a whole thing. For whatever reason, the US has really, really cheap electricity. And so that's what makes it like the ideal growth place for AI, because it's very energy intensive. But because it's so, I'm just going to make 6 slabs for now, all the way around here. It's so energy intensive that it's going to raise the price for electricity, because all the cheap electricity is going to be used. And so for the average person, AI is going to not just be this fun thing that happens in the background. There is a real cost if you live in the US. If you don't live in the US, you can complain about energy use all you like, but it's like, well, you know, one, it's happening somewhere else. We haven't, oh, Christ. We haven't minded exporting all our energy uses to China for all of our manufacturing, whatever else. So we can't be that upset about 1/10 as much going to the US. Or you can be upset, I just don't think it makes as much sense. But okay, I'm gonna make sure I do this right, because I ballsed it up a little bit last time. Okay, there we go. Then we'll make this into planks, and then we'll make even more planks, 36 maybe, and I'll make that into slabs. Yeah, and then we'll just call that a day. Yeah, very, very much filling up the inventory now, but hopefully we find a mountain, chat. I'm really hoping if we just find a mountain and get some stone, that'll solve all my problems in its own way. So yeah, so AI is using a ridiculous amount of electricity, and so depending on where you live, if you're near a data center, it's a negative externality because it uses so much electricity that your price will go up. Electricity isn't bad in its own right. I would actively argue electricity is good. The one actually good thing that we are creating as a society, outside of, like, the Economist joke, right? That like, well, if two people just eat poop, the economy is not any better off, except those two people. Oh, I guess I'm better off because I tell the joke about them. But like, the economy is not any better off. Whereas if they made lobster rolls for each other, the economy is better off because they both have lobster rolls. But I reckon the electricity is cheap because of nuclear power. It's the case here, or I'm horribly wrong. Oh, does Russia have nuclear power? I always assumed because of the Pripyat explosion that Russia must not have it itself. But it makes sense, actually, that obviously if it was all the USSR, so you must have a bunch of nuclear. Yeah, nuclear power is the cheapest by a long shot. It's really expensive to build and then really cheap overall. Whereas the opposite is coal and gas. Coal and gas are really cheap right now, but you have to keep buying it right now at whatever right now price is. It's like how you can fill up your... Every day you have to fill up your car with petrol at whatever the petrol cost prices are. But if you bought, what's in a... I don't know, if you have a windmill in your back garden, then it costs you a bunch to buy, but every time it spins, now you get electricity. Or a solar panel. Nuclear power plants are, like, insanely efficient. It's crazy. I think people don't realize that when they talk. Like, a lot of people just assume that we're getting energy from nuclear because we're bored or something. But it's like, no, this is... It's the best investment you can make. It's the ability to turn, $1 now into $100 in 50 years' time. We have an infinite money glitch, but the infinite money glitch sometimes explodes and, radiates a bunch of people. Wasn't Chernobyl Ukraine technically? Yeah, I said Pripyat, but I think Chernobyl is what it's... Why am I thinking Pripyat? I think Pripyat is the town and Chernobyl's the reactor, maybe? Anyway, so yeah, electricity is really, really bad for generative AI, and just AI in general. Data centers are going crazy. But to be clear, data centers were already going crazy. And also to be clear, electricity is the sign of a functioning civilization. It's the thing we're actually all achieving. The more electricity, like, right now, if this were the 1800s, chat, and I wanted to stream this, first of all, no internet. But imagine there's an internet that somehow doesn't use electricity. I'd have to hire someone to hold up a little light stick, or they'd have to... How do you even get light? I guess I'd have to light a little fuse here. But instead, I just run a bunch of electricity to these lights, and now I am lit. Look how white I look. I'm actually Asian. People don't know this. Moscow has 3 nuclear power plants and a circle around it. It's what powers the city. Oh, that's fun. Are they ever like... Do you ever have the fear that they're like targets or something like that, I know a lot of people who live in, I think around 9/11, anyone who lived near a nuclear power plant was like, I am leaving now, and I am not coming back. Maybe we should have nuclear powered cars. Haven't you been there? Yeah, I've been to Pripyat. But I don't know, everyone calls it Chernobyl, and now I'm wondering why I call it Pripyat. Okay, so, yeah, I think that generative AI is using a bunch of electricity. Big problem, right? But if you look at the water use, it's using a bunch of water, like hundreds of thousands of gallons. But if you look at it compared to and that sounds so bad, but actually if you really break down what is hundreds of thousands of gallons, it works out at oh yeah, every day they use the equivalent of like a Costco pallet of water bottles, and that's bad. But if you think about how much water, gets into every time you flush your toilet, you use a gallon or something like that. Every time you have a shower, you use dozens of gallons. If you take all the generative AI use together, it works out to the amount of 60,000 homes for a year. Which, again, sounds like a lot. It's just a drop in the ocean, if you'll forgive the analogy, but because there's just so much more water being used by other things that it's not even a relevant comparison. Also, I live in a nuclear power plant. The school gave us iodine pills proactively on 9/11. See, that's fun. That's a very prime case of yep, no one knew it was coming. Everyone had a spook. Also, basically, AI is the solution to rising sea levels. Well, the funny thing is, like, yeah, visit Winchester? Yes. Honestly, I think it'd be better if we used a bunch of water, if you could use dirty water for it. I was pretty anxious when I learned about it on a random Wikipedia deep dive. Over time, it calmed down. If the bombs come, Moscow will be the first target anyway. Yeah, I thought about that. I thought about it, Dasher, and I think you're actually pretty safe because of that. Like, the only time you are attacking Moscow... Like, so I'm gonna reverse my own logic for London. Because one of the downsides of moving to my country's capital and the most important city in Western Europe... most important city in Europe, full stop, depending on how European you believe Moscow and Istanbul to be. But the one downside to moving to such a big city is like, oh yeah, if there's a war, I'm target number one. If they're not firing here, then they've messed up. They've shot wrong. If you go for Sheffield first, you're just guaranteeing you kill 10 times fewer people. Just really, really stupid. Anyway, so isn't it a huge war crime to attack a nuclear power plant? Doesn't stop it happening, apparently, dazed and confused. That's what I've learned from recent conflicts. Yeah, so I think living in a really big city, if it's the capital, you're kind of safe because if you take out the capital of a country, in theory the country runs around like a headless chicken and that's really good for you. But actually it means, yeah, there's no central command anymore. There's no one to negotiate with. Every war, unless you are going for absolute conquering, which we just haven't done in so long. Like the last country that tried to absolutely conquer their neighbors, was the big 1940s one. But it was like really specifically still about like absorbing it. Because it's too tricky to really annihilate something and rebuild. London's greater than Istanbul in relevance, surely. No offense, Turks. I would argue it's like the biggest city in the Middle East, right? Is that true? It certainly is the most important. I was gonna thank you for saying Western Europe, Lamau. It's funny. I think you could make a really decent case for Moscow being overall the most important city in Europe. I was thinking today, like, it's weird because, like, whenever people say Europeans, or even say white people, right? Like, white people includes, like, 4 of the 6 continents. But also, it's, like, the smallest group of people. If you use the lazy, there are white people, brown people, black people, then white people are the smallest camp by a lot. We're a tiny... But off that tiny camp, it's like, oh, yeah, the biggest individual group is Russians. There's just 100... There's, like, 100-something million Russians hanging over there. No one knows what's going on with them. You see them in weird corners of the internet. No offense, Dasher. Actually, is that true for your experience of other Russians, Dasher? Are you like, oh yeah, I was in a niche Minecraft community and I found a Russian. Oh yeah, I was on this really weird corner of the internet, and that's always my experience. It's I think it's absolutely fascinating. It's like how the second most economically active country on Earth is China. And they're just not on the internet. Like I meet Chinese people in real life all the time, and it's like, oh, yeah, you're one of the ones who gets to go overseas, so I get to hear your impression on the country, and it's always like surprisingly nuanced. Like you expect them to be like, yes, the communists are #1, but they go like, oh yeah, it sucks that we don't have like freedom and rights and stuff, but it's nice enough. I mean, she's here. Yeah, this is a weird corner of the internet. Let's be clear. This is a very weird corner of the internet. They're not really white in Siberia, though. At least the ones who are native. Yeah, but there's very few people in Siberia. Like, I think the Russia's not exclusively white European. It's mostly not European by landmass, but it's mostly European by... I don't know why I even made a crafting table here. I guess we'll just make some more slabs anyway. Yeah, I think... Oh! My Minecraft crashed. I hope I'm fine. I hope I come back and it's okay. Chat. Mate, we have our own internet. The communities are huge. It's me who's weird for going outside of it. Yeah, I guess you're halfway to China on that one then. Isn't that weird that needs to be true? Like, I actually sometimes think about how weird it is that most countries do share an internet. Like, if you have the choice to not be on that same internet, gotta wait for my skin to load. Gotta wait for that little random pause. Oh, I got Colormatic, by the way. That's a rare... It's a rare screen. And we'll go. Russia is Slavic ruling class. Yeah, that's a fun way to put it. So, chat, we might just spawn in the ocean. Oh, no! Chat. The game bugged. What do we do about this? What do we do about this? What do we do about that? We fell below Y200 because of the game. What happens now? I don't even know. Oh, no. Oh, no. The game has decided that I am not on my block. Chat. What do we do about that, huh? What do we do about that one? I don't know what we do about that one. Build up. Check a backup. No, I don't know what to do. Delete this part of the stream. Okay, well, thank you for watching today. It doesn't count. It doesn't count. I have said many times the point of the Y200 rule is that I don't gain an advantage by being down there. So even though right now what I want to do is chop down a bunch of trees, land in water, mine enough trees to go up, pretend it didn't happen. Creative, backup, won't have your work. No one's fault it happened. Yeah, I save and quit to see how you come back. Save and quit to see how we come back. Okay, so this is, I've got a copy, just, oh, the copying machine isn't working. You agreed this wouldn't count. Yeah, I am mad at the game for this happening. To be clear, you could lose a hardcore world to that bug. Your entire world could just be gone. And I think that's absolute insanity. I don't think that should happen. Use an editor to put yourself back in the path. Oh, wait, am I? No. Okay, so there's the path up there. Use dirt to avoid saplings. Yeah, that might be the best idea. Hey, thank you, Jura, for gifting a membership. Tell me what, Jura, if you're here now, have you watched any members-only videos? You think they're good? Do you think they're worth becoming a member only? Do you think people are excited to become a member for them? I'd love to know. Hardcore should never have been added to Bedrock. Yeah, chat. I think use a backup from 30 minutes ago. That's not an option. It's on a single player world. Yeah, what we can do, right? Is we can we'll set my I think I understand what Chantal meant. Use the world tool editor to edit my position higher in the sky. I don't know if I can do that, but I guess we got to go find out. Oh no, I've got to be outside the world. Okay, so finish the full. Chat, I'm still in the air. It's yeah, I think I should break the sand or something like that and then make a pile of that on the way up. It's got to be something weird like that. But I think dirt would make more sense because I benefit less from it. So I'm going to load up the Minecraft tool for this. I'm going to see if I have the option to change my own. Oh, it just opened and crashed. Oh, I guess it's must have had a Bedrock update. Minecraft tool, checking for updates, crashed. Well, that's bad. Why is it crashing every time I load it up? Yep, it's just crashing. Okay. So, that is bad. I'll have to quickly download it again, chat. This is bad. Yeah, I don't. This is a concern. This is a big concern. Okay, so I'm going to download the tool again, and we'll see if that makes everything better. Class not registered. Okay. Well, that's not ideal, is it? Yeah, chat, I cannot... I'll have to find, like, a Minecraft... I don't even know. I guess if it's not working easily, I think that means we should... I think you'll land in water, so just build back up. You don't get an advantage. Turn it off, fix it, come back next stream. Chat, we hit the water. I'm down here now. So, the whole thing is the game bugged out and killed me. Everyone can agree. Everyone saw exactly what happened. There's no advantage to me being down here. I'm gonna dig out enough. I'll use trees, and I won't get any saplings. I'll just use... It'll suck. I'll even waste... I'll be worse off for being down here than being up there. But I'm gonna just chop a bunch of dark oak. I need to go up... logically, if we're at 64, we need to go up 136 blocks. 136 divided by 4 is 9 plus 25. That's 34. So we have to get 34 of these logs. And then we'll make a bed, and then everything will be fine. The easiest thing may be to have someone join your world, put a bucket of water on the path from up above. I don't think there's any way anyone is getting to me from up above. Like, I'm 14,000 blocks away from spawn right now. Otherwise, that is a good idea. Okay, so now I'll use all of these to make all of these. Ah! Jesus. Okay. Now no one can argue I'm not worse off. Man, this ruins a lot about the point of the run. I'm gonna try and get myself through this first chat. But I've got to say, this has, like, hurt me emotionally quite a bit. I feel like the impressiveness of what we have done has been diminished mildly by whatever this is. Maybe you could get a small dripstone since you're down here. No one will know, says Pizai. See, that's where I think you and I differ. That's where I think I differ to most people. Because there is a certain argument that, like, well, what does any of it matter now? But I am of the belief that playing with this limitation is hard, but it being hard is what makes it so worthwhile when it is good. As if Bedrock wasn't naughty enough recently. You're gonna have to burn the tower with lava after. Oh, I'm so far away! Oh, chat, this might... Yeah, I'm gonna have to burn the tower, you're right. That is actually logical. Oh, man, this has really messed me up. I should have got more planks so I could get back home. It's fine, though. I'll eat some cooked chicken. I'll pour a lava bucket down there. And then I'll start slabbing over. So by lighting that on fire, we can now... Oh, no. Is the fire spreading this way? Okay. So that fire should burn most of the tower, and it will probably burn over here as well if I'm not careful. So now I'm going to lose a bunch of my own slabs. But I don't think slabs can burn. I mean, clearly I'm wrong. Okay, so the fire is coming to get me, and the lava is still dropping. Yeah, you know, that's good enough for me, I think. I wonder if you spawned in the correct place and the blocks you placed weren't there. Yeah, I'm curious what caused that. I'm gonna have to go look at it. Blame Mojang. I blame Mojang a lot. I don't understand. That is like, again, imagine I wasn't over water. Like, ignore the fact that I'm doing the silly challenge that I'm doing right now, right? If I wasn't over water, I would just be dead. And I don't think that... I think that any bug that can cause that to be a true statement is a ridiculous bug. That is my controversial opinion. Yeah, all my blocks are gone. Oh, so, yeah, I think you're right, Chantel. I think the game just didn't place all the blocks, but it stored my location anyway. So that is a bug that can kill you. It's nice to know that that is how that works. So now I'm going to sleep in a bed Oh, this is tricky, actually. Is this a top slab or a bottom slab? I think it's a bottom slab. So I'll place a block there, and then I'll place a block there, so I can make sure when I wake up out of bed, I'm going to wake up onto something good. And nighttime's done. Oh, and so am I. Very upsetting, chat. Very, very upsetting. If he was over land, he would have lost the world. Yeah, if it was over land, I'd have had to not. It'd have been a nightmare, right, to prevent that from happening. Imagine how many hardcore runs were ended in the free buggy weeks. Yeah, I think that definitely should minimize the amount you should want to play hardcore during those times. Also, I'm playing risky bridging now. See, this is my instinct being like, well, you can fall off at any time. What's even the point at taking it slow and steady? It's crazy. Okay, so you should make a backup now. I've already got the duplicate world. Thank you for mentioning it, though, Malin Cream. We saw nothing. You saw nothing, chat. You were on a bottom slab. Bottom slabs don't technically count as a full block. Same block. Yeah, that ended the wooden tools run. The wooden tools run, I actually don't remember it, but I remember dying to that bug before. It was a disaster. But yeah, I want to, wacky pilled. I just wanted to finish my point and say, yeah, you can be worried about electricity usage. Electricity usage. I think, though, that electricity usage is bad, whereas water usage is like, well, you recycle water a bunch anyway. Like, unlike electricity, there's a finite amount of water in the world. And so you need to just be good at recycling it. Whereas electricity, you can theoretically generate as much electricity as you want. One day we will harness our sun, and we will create near infinite amounts of electricity from it. Like, the thing you actually want to be upset about with AI is, like, why are my local governments not building enough electricity? Or whoever your local power company is. Weirdly enough, I think it's like Warren... When I lived in Nevada, at least, I think Warren Buffett owned my power company. And that's a weird fact. Like, it should make you feel a bit uncomfortable. You know, as someone who does believe that... I think that even if you're pretty capitalist, you've still got to have a question about, like, why does it make sense for someone to do this? What should it make sense for someone to do this, maybe even? Okay, so now make a bunch more slabs. And we'll keep on bridging now. I don't love that it's raining. I wish I had gone for the trident with Riptide now. Like, chat, this could have saved me everything. Yeah, so go back to the previous topic. I went back and checked. You lost about 10 blocks and placed your crafting table. So do you think it kept those... Do you think it lost those blocks? Oh, it did lose those blocks. Ah. Have you returned your Malaysian iPhone yet? No, I'm gonna work out whatever fun things I can do with it. Worst case, I just play Minecraft Blast all the way to the end. I think I'd like to see the ending. Because it does have an ending right now. It's silly that it's gonna be an infinite game, I'm pretty sure. But right now it looks like it has an ending. I'm looking forward to getting to it. The wooden tools run ended the bug as you were bridging to the end islands. Oh yeah. Balo says I was talking about male urethra. It is funny that the urethra is so different. Isn't it so interesting? Dyson Swarm says Ohio Craft. Yeah, that's exciting. So yeah, the biggest divide in the internet is the language barrier. Oh, you think so, Dasher? You don't think it's the fact that there's the Chinese firewall and the... Like, but why... Okay, the language barrier thing is interesting. Because the language barrier only exists because of Russia's isolation, right? Like, if Russia was consuming more English language media and participating in more English language business... It's one of the reasons I've said this before, and I bet you don't disagree. But one of the reasons it was short-sighted to just cut Russia out of the world economy is now they will be especially out of the world economy, which is bad for them. It's also bad for us, like less bad for us. But now there is less interest to learn English and less interest to... I don't know. I feel like it's... there's a lot of decisions that are really good in the short... Actually, you know... The reason that you shouldn't have a dictator... a lot of people might know this, but like... democracies can suck sometimes. But I would rather have a bad democracy than a good dictatorship. And it's not just like on a moral reason. It's because dictators don't know when not to double down. Whereas democracies aren't allowed to double down because there's a limit to how long they'll be in power. I think even just like term limited or, term limits, but you also can't pick your successor in any way. Basically, like that's what makes democracy so strong. Because when something really, like if the people don't want something to happen anymore, if there's a bad decision that's been committed to for too long, you have to say, let's back out of this. And the biggest reason why is because if you don't, your successor will. If we really, really, really dislike something that's happening, we can vote in politicians who will start to change that, right? And that means that you can never double down on something that isn't working now, isn't working in the future, and that you just kind of hope will work in the far, far future, so that it can, like, fix your current existence, so that it will fix the fact that you have the wrong opinion. Because as most values are quite relative, eventually the world will change to respect you. It's amazing to think, like, I don't know, like, the idea of, like, someone like Stalin dying and realizing that, like, well, in 70 years, people will have forgotten all the bad things I did, and they'll revere me for the questionable things I did, and they'll call those things good things, and then, oh, yeah, wow. Get to point out the huge mistakes leaders are making. Eventually, that has an effect. Yeah, weirdly, though, because in theory, that should be bad, Josh Jones. In theory, it's really bad if everyone isn't, like, I think that you could imagine a world where, I'll go out and out and say it, right? When you have a really unpopular president or prime minister, and everyone is talking about how bad they are, and everyone wants to talk about how bad they are, you want your country to fail. If you are really, really, really anti-Trump, you probably want him to do a bad job, so it will validate you in your opinion. And as someone who is, who believes in, free trade and all these other things that are currently being thrown out the window, that is, my opinion as an outsider to some extent. But if that is your opinion as an insider, that's bad. Whereas if you said, like, okay, everyone has to say that this is good, and everyone has to believe that this is good, then it would make it better. There are some things that work better when everyone believes in them. There are some things that get created out of thin air just because we believe in them. I would argue the success that AI is seeing is solely because all business leaders, no matter their type, are seeing like, oh, we can make a bunch of money if we can convince people we're going to do AI well. So even though a bunch of those business leaders, there's a CEO out there like, this is a bubble, this is gonna crash so hard, but I'm getting my pension in 2 years. I'm gonna pump this, and I'm gonna sell my stocks as it goes up. On the other hand, people can be coerced into voting against their own interests. I think it's crazy that arguably a democracy just gives you a yes or no switch. By the way, Toy Cat Tax! Thank you for the Toy Cat Tax, Alejandro. I hope you're doing absolutely desert well today. Do you want to know a fun thing? I don't know why your comment prompted me to bring this up, but today's video didn't have a thumbnail, chat. Do you know that? It's just a fun fact for everyone. A bit of a whoopsie happened today, and yeah, it's really interesting because it has a really high click-through without having a thumbnail. So it's starting to make me question, like, oh, why do we put so much work into thumbnails? Will people click it either way? I want my leader to not mess things up further and then die of old age or of other causes. Yeah, it's an interesting fear that you have, right? It's like, wouldn't it be nice? You could see the argument. So I think Putin is a better example than Trump in this case, because I feel like there aren't that many Russians who are like, yeah, everything has been perfect since he's been in charge. But there probably are more Russians under that camp of like, yeah, well, you got to support the guy. You got to, like, I don't want to support not Russia because I'm a Russian. So I'm going to support the Russia person, even if he's not the person I would pick. Forgetting to put a drainage system under a city is a catastrophic mistake, has to be pointed out. More that kind of meaning. Man, I would vote for no drainage system under a city. Yeah, people do vote for that sort of thing all the time. And then, like, that's the thing, right? The city could the people can't double down on this is a good idea. Or rather, the only people who can double down on we don't want drainage under our city are the people. Sometimes the people will elect someone to do their dumb idea, and then they can campaign against that person. Or even if it's a referendum, right? You can still go, like, the only people who can overturn that, the only people who can turn around on that are the people. And it forces... If after 20 years of floods, a city goes, you know, maybe we were wrong not to install drainage, then they will install the drainage. Whereas if a dictator says, you know, drainage is dumb, we don't need drainage, drainage is very unpatriotic, and then specifically removes all the drains, then, yeah, I think it's a huge problem. There's a problem in that the people who would be a good head of state rarely want the responsibility because they genuinely care about people. I've said this forever. It should definitely be random. RNG leadership elections would genuinely be... I also think RNG is how, like, regular democracy should work if you're trying to be the fairest. The apologists always say it's someone else's fault, not their authoritarian pookie. Authoritarian pookie, is that when someone from our chat gets a big power... What's the word? Like power boner? Power surge? I don't know what the word is, but you know, when they go on a power trip, there we go. Is that what that's called? So let's make a couple more of these. Yeah, burning through the logs now, but getting a ton of slabs made. So that's something. So we go up to 30, make 60, and then we'll go up to 36. And then make... I hate that it does that. I hate that it doesn't just know, like, if it crafts this, then we'll have space for it. Okay, let's keep on moving. We've come some distance, and we will come some more. I guess we'll go some more. Isn't it weird that we've come up to here, but we will go in over there? Anyway, thumbnailless videos do work because they're mysterious. They only work if most videos have thumbnails. You think in a world where all videos have no thumbnails, the no thumb videos will be interesting too? Toycat tax from Melissa. Thank you, Senator Dingo. A very fun name, by the way. Thank you for the Toycat tax. Wow, entirely voluntary. Didn't even force it off you. Didn't even say that you had to go and make me fries in exchange for that. That's very nice of me. A dictatorship can be a blessing if it's led by the right person. A democracy can be a curse if the people make the wrong choices. But again, I would rather have a... You know, I'll even put it this way. I'd rather have my decisions made by a bad parliament than a good king. I'd rather have my decisions made... Because the good king will eventually die and be replaced by maybe not a good king, but the bad democracy can be replaced. You know, like, the democracy is something we the people can fix. Like, if I'm being honest, we need to fix ourselves as people. Like, I was talking about this of, like, so I think I've been really trying to, like, hone it in. Because it's, as an adult, you especially when you're, like, I think especially when you hit, like, late 20s, early 30s, the world wants you to lock in. Like, I think anything that happens before you're 30 is revolutionary and cool. Anything after 30, it's like, oh, why are they doing this? It was way better the way it was before. So I want to resist that, and I want to resist the idea that, like, oh, people are broken now. It's like, no. Me and my people, and people older than me and people younger than me, we're slightly broken. And so we actually need to fix that. I think that, you know, rather than looking at democracy and saying it's some people who are broken, I've got to concede, like, I think I am one of the broken people. How am I broken, and how do I fix myself? How are we broken, and how do we fix ourselves? What do I do, or how do I work out what the solution is? I enjoy power and control, but I can't say I ever get power bonus. Power boner was not the right word. I saw there's a Toycat stream only once I was watching a British YouTuber playing a silly computer game. Oh, that's what you're watching right now, Dan Marsh. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing desert well, even. Yeah, I think democracy is broken because of us. I think that you have to concede that the group us is kind of changing. And if I'm being honest, I think it's kind of ridiculous when you ever talk about who us even is. I think the concept of countries is falling apart the tiniest bit. The United States' 4-year presidential terms and 2-year term limits give us an advantage in international diplomacy because we are too erratic to make long-term plans against. You know, also, that's a funny comment. Yeah, but I'd love to be dictator, to be fair. Yeah, I would love to be dictator, but as a good dictator, one of the rules you'd have to implement, if you were a genuinely good dictator, you'd have to say, and when I die, back to democracy. Everyone has to agree that right now. No more dictators. I was an accident. I was rare for being good, and then when I die, I have to make sure it comes out that I was actually not that good. Oh, okay, chat. This might solve my problems. That's a mountain. It looks like it's at the right height. It might be slightly too small. If people were perfect, almost all ideologies could work perfectly. Chat, are you gonna? Jeff Shannon, are you trying to bring up socialism while I'm bridging? Don't you do it. Don't you do it. You can't do it. I don't allow it. Okay, we're still bridging. Whew. So, bunch of dictators. Everyone loves dictatorships if they're the dictator. Yeah, I mean, that's a funny thing. The dictatorship in what's the name of the place? Not the dictatorship. So here's the thing: dictators and kings have very different terminologies. I feel like eventually kings like justify themselves, but it's the same concept, right? The king of Bhutan specifically made sure that when he died, the country went to democracy, and the country did not want to do it, but they are better off as a democracy now. When I die, there will be a power vacuum. To prevent that, I must start building new power structures while I'm alive. Yeah, I've been looking into quite a bit of like medieval history and Game of Thrones, because it's really fascinated me on this like visceral, carnal level. That the whole reason we have the power, like someone takes over a place and says, "I'm the king now. I am in charge of you all." And everyone goes, yeah, we're too scared of you. Go on, you're in charge. And then the guy says, well, this is the best position in the land. So I think if it's going to anyone, it should go to the person most important to me, my son. But then eventually someone doesn't have a son, or they have a son, but their son isn't very good. So they say it should go to my brother instead. Or it should go to my good friend over here. And then sometimes what happens is there's a bit of a fight over who should be the leader. Because if all countries are ruled because of a big force, then all it takes is another round of force to get in charge again. And ultimately what I'm saying here is like, the reason that the reason that like kings ever became hereditary was because it made sure that there was like some, you know, like connection in like a familial level, but also because families want to do good things for themselves, right? People want to further themselves, but specifically they want to further their families. It's like one of the most instinctual things. And so to tie your power structure into families is a really, it's like it happens in most systems, with the weird exception being democracies. You know, you get big political dynasties, but they're really, really rare, actually, in the grand scheme of things. Most politicians don't come from a dynasty, which to me tells you that, you know, there's not enough, the benefit-cost ratio of being a politician doesn't swing so... Like, a politician isn't the most desirable job. You go into politics despite the negatives, not because of the positives. I think it's interesting. Say vegetable vitamins in a very British way. There you go, Eric Gauffier. That'll be $3. No, sorry, that'll be €3, mate. I don't know what accent this is, but I guess I'm sticking with it. Then you have the Habsburg jaw. Yeah, that's the funny thing. Okay, you know what? Cat, you're gonna lead me down a rabbit hole, and I need to go down it though. The reason that marrying your cousin is bad, a lot of people think that marrying your cousin is a really bad, like I don't know, like it's one of the things we talk about in terms of like culture. Because there's a lot of people who find other cultures to be quite concerning in lots of ways, just on like an instinctive level. But one of the actually bad things that can happen if you mix certain cultures is if you mix a cousin marrying culture and a not cousin marrying culture, all of the power will end up eventually in the cousin marrying culture because the families grow stronger. You know, one of the things that is like required for a society to work, basically, in my opinion, is that everyone is like, almost that you specifically want to connect all the families randomly. Everyone should be connected to everyone else in some small way. Whereas if you only marry inside of your family, even if it's like second or third cousin, if you only marry inside of your family, there's like again, ignore the incest thing. People focus on that, but it's not that big of a deal. And it makes it like into a bit of a like, it makes it almost like a racist point, if I'm being honest. It feels racist. But the funny thing is if everyone like cousin marries, you get like families that do things for families. When your king is cousin marrying, you have a bunch of people who are most powerful because they all have the same great-great-grandfather. And that is bad. That is one of the things that makes your hereditary thing the most important. It's legal to marry your cousin in the UK. It is. Yeah, it's weird, right? There's and that's when we talk about. I think it's not legal to marry your sister though, which I've always thought is a bit interesting. Like, why is it not legal to marry your sister? Okay, I'm gonna go the opposite angle for a second here. On a philosophical or moral level, you should be able to marry your dad. I should be able to marry my dad. I should be able to marry my sister. I don't have one. If I did, I bet she'd be hot and I could marry her. Oh, that's weird to say, is it? Is it not okay for me to... But why is it? Why is that not okay? If we both agree... If we agree we're not going to have any children, why can't I marry my sister? The answer is because there's some weird, like, social... By your moral standards, by the moral relativistic standards of today, we say that you shouldn't marry your sister. I bet in 100 years, or I bet in 1,000 years, when we're all enlightened and we know the true meaning, it'll be like, oh yeah, well, if you think about life, if you think about the person who understands you best in the world is the person you grew up with, right? Too close genetically, risk of disability is too high. Oh, we're not going to have any children. My sister, she's hypothetical, she's sterile or infertile. I'm sterile and she's infertile. And, you know, or maybe I am a girl too in this scenario. Me and my sister, we're both girls. Why can't we get married? Using big flashy numbers in the title, I see. Indeed. Also, I thought that mountain was at my lair, but it's nowhere close, chat. It is nowhere close. We can marry someone's cousin, though. Yeah, isn't it crazy? I can marry your sister, and then you could marry my sister, Josh Jones. See, and if we did that, Josh Jones, that would be both legal and moral, but it would create an interesting thing. You marrying my sister and me marrying your sister would bring us closer together, because we'd start to be at the same family events. It'd be like, oh, I just saw you last Christmas, but now I'm seeing you, now I see you at Easter. You're at my family event, and I'm at yours, because you're following my sister around, and I'm following your sister around. So, Kat, what the hell are you talking about? I just joined. I'm talking about why you should be able to marry your sister. Yeah, chat, you gotta follow this one. I've been placing blocks for 2 hours. Let me talk about how much I want to marry my sister. So I think that like the you know, obviously there's like an ethical, but like, should it be that we say that makes me feel weird, or should it be that like, oh well, that's clearly wrong because you grew up, you know, like there's just some moral value that people say isn't okay. Some identical twins marry each other's identical twins, so their kids are biological siblings, but could marry each other because they are cousins. Oh, I've never heard of that, Cat. I have actually seen, yeah, I've seen the twins marrying twins thing. And I always think, like, one of the pairs of these people are liking this more. Yeah, yeah, twins marrying twins is interesting. Anyway, so me and Josh Jones marry each other's sisters, right? And now our families are forever linked. And so now, if, you know, if Josh Jones's, you know, son, now my nephew, wants to get into, you know, I don't know, Minecraft YouTubing, I've got the contacts to hook that guy up. And now when my son is really good at, oh no, wait, he's really good at car mechanic works, and my son needs a car repaired, he can go there too. And then our families build and start to, you know, we send gifts to each other, and we build a big, strong family unit. And that is just as, you know, arguably it's just as bad, except you make the family bigger. Like political dynasties, basically, or like not political, but like family dynasties basically work. Also, I think that's definitely a mountain, chat. I can see it. That mountain peak better be at Y200. I think I need it to be if I'm gonna make it anywhere. Because I thought I was really close to making it. I thought I was like pushing the boundaries, and it turns out I'm not anywhere near any boundaries. So make all the spruce slabs, all of them, I tell you. Still got a bunch more to make, but it's fine. We just need to go to sleep, and that's gonna be great. Next time on things Toycat shouldn't have said. Consolidating power through cousin marriage. Whereas if you marry someone random, it's like if you like okay, I think I've spoken about this a lot before. Marrying for love is such a new concept. The reason you would marry your cousin, or you'd marry your second cousin, or you'd marry Josh Jones's cousin, is because you're specifically because you're trying to consolidate within the family. You know, like, if you spend, like, the person you spend your life most with is your life partner, is your whatever you want to call them. And so, if that's someone in your family, that boosts your family stronger. If you consider the world to be split into two categories, family and not family, then every moment of time and every penny you spend on people outside your family is money and time you can't spend with your family. I'm going out to, I went out this morning to that boxing class with strangers. I could have gone to a boxing class with my brother or my sister that doesn't exist, but I could have gone with her anyway. Maybe we'd have hit it off, you know. I don't know for sure. But marriage used to be more like a lifelong job. Yeah, it's like a merging of lives, right? And so it's like, oh yeah, if you need a marriage partner, logically, someone in the family would be good. So, if you married your grandma, are you now your mum's dad and mum's son at the same time? Yeah, this makes people really uncomfortable, but I thought about this a lot when I was in school. That, like, you can... there's a lot of terms for relatives that just break if you marry within a family. So, if you have a child with your dad, then the dad is now the dad and the granddad. And then if your dad has a child with that, then he's the granddad and the dad and the and you can keep doing that near infinitely. I think that's like a very Joseph Fritzley thing, or like what's the Game of Thrones guy? Thomas Craster sort of thing. But yeah, it's you can do it infinitely. And you can... This is the Futurama episode where Fry is his own granddad. Yeah. The grandfather paradox, I believe. Oh, chat. Yeah, that is definitely going to be above Y200, right? Chat, we found something. Oh, it's big too, right? It's big. Can I make it over there? It looks like I can. I've been saved from my own terrible mistakes. Nice MCPE gameplay. It's classic MCPE family. Gameplay. Marrying your father will make you a stepfather to your siblings. Oh, yeah. You know, it's crazy because there's enough people out there. I think, this is a crazy one. Elon Musk's mother married his stepbrother. It's something weird, or his adopted brother. There's a really, really weird one in there. Now we're at Sweet Home Alabama. You are now tied with Atlanta with 14 seconds left. Oh, okay. Bird for life. Happy. I'm not tied with Atlanta. Someone is tied with Atlanta. So, Kat, what's your favorite sandwich? We've got to change this subject quickly. Okay, that's enough incest for today. But yeah, I think incest is one of those things where it's like, like, unlike most other things that we say are immoral. Murder is immoral, and torture is immoral. Actually, suicide used to be seen as deeply immoral. Suicide is a great example, actually, by accident, my misspeak. His father married Elon's stepsister. Oh, it's his father, not his mother. It makes sense. It's kind of a dad, you know, without offense, I feel like men are a bit more, there's the female version of Toy Cat isn't imagining marrying her hypothetical brother. I'm just saying, you know, or the lady version of Toy Cat, Also, this is such a big mountain. I am amazed that this is here. I'm happy that it's here. Also, Toycat, no, the sandwich. The sandwich. No, I'm going to tell you about my favorite sandwich anyway. My favorite sandwich is a lobster roll. Easy question. Don't even need to answer it. It's the Carolina Panthers, says Bird for Life. So yeah, chat. Okay, to move off the subject. So, okay, you know, suicide's a really interesting one too, because at one point, suicide was deemed as the most, like, horrifically immoral thing you could do. Is that an igloo? No. Like, yeah, what are you gonna do? You gonna leave everyone behind? Like, if you think about it this way, right? Because, like, I think the biggest thing that has happened in society over the last 100 years is we moved from being our parents' property to being our own people that are just raised by our parents. And that has the really interesting shift of meaning that, like, you know, like, again, like, suicide would be depriving, like, you know, imagine if you bought a sofa and it was an expensive sofa. It cost £3,000, and then the sofa threw itself out a window. You'd be so upset. Imagine you came home, you know, you've just bought a brand new iPhone, and you come home and the iPhone's drowned itself in the bathtub. You would be upset. You wouldn't enjoy that. You would blame Apple, you'd blame the bathtub manufacturer. You'd only have yourself to blame for not paying enough attention to it, of course, and not understanding, you know, like, what was going on with it emotionally and being so distant. But, you know, it would still be, you're probably closer to the stripe plans than the end of the bridge. Anyway, is the lobster roll a sandwich or a burger? Oh, I don't like it, but if you really boil down what a sandwich is, a burger is a type of sandwich. Digging troops. I don't like it. I don't like when Americans call us a burger a sandwich. You know, it's like they're right, but it feels incorrect. Like the person suing their parents for having birthed them. Yeah. I think this is a spicy topic. You know, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna talk about, like, if you're born with a preventable problem that your parents could have filtered out. I think you could make a really good case for suing them. But I won't talk about that, chat. Instead, I'm here at this big mountain. It's exciting. It looks like I'm going to have to go through a mountain. This is the first time in I've placed now, like, over 20,000 slabs in a row like this. It's a fun. Don't you prefer Canada or America as a tourist, says just in case? As a tourist, I think I prefer America. I love snowy places. Chat, I'm going to Finland soon. Oh, no. I'm going to the Arctic Circle. Even more exciting. We want eugenics. Ooh. I'd kill my phone if it killed itself. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think that'll be very effective. That is not a punishment that'll deter it. Yeah, I love Banff. I love Canada a lot. I think it's just like if you're really simplifying it down, America has more because it is a bigger country by people. So I think Banff is better than what you get in Colorado, but Colorado has very close to Banff. I think I like, you know, like Toronto almost or Montreal almost as much as I like New York City. But then there's a bunch of other New York cities. Canada mentions this Crafty Masterman. Yeah, there's you know, Canada. I guess really the worst type of Canada mentioned though, right? Absolutely the worst type. I'm accidentally sad. You know, right now, you know, I'm on Team Canada. Don't get me wrong. I don't have my Canada flag around anymore. But Arctic Circle, you don't mean Svalbard, do you? Or the Spitsbergen? No. I'm going to like the Montreal Mogs, New York. Nah. I think that is an incorrect opinion. I think Montreal has, okay, first of all, big problem. Everyone speaks French there. Don't know what their problem is. I don't know if they realize what country they're in. But they ballsed it up. They're all speaking some silly language, specifically spoken by silly people. But as great as I think Quebec City, weirdly, is my favorite city in Quebec. I love Quebec City. They've got that like artsy small city feel. I love that Quebec. So like if you want like mountain life, Quebec's got you covered quite well too. Like, Canada has a bunch of stuff. It's just America mathematically has more stuff. And the cultures are similar enough that, like, you know, from an outsider perspective, you know, outside of... Also, is there going to be anything, chat? Like, I keep thinking that I'm, like, right about to make it there. And then I'm looking. Maybe I'm going to go right over it. If I don't get any blocks, I'm definitely screwed, chat. If I can't get any of the blocks from this little island, then I'm out of it. And there's no way this is going anywhere. Like, at this point, if we look at the number of blocks I have, it is very, very few. It's like one more big rush. So I gotta play. Your favorite place in Quebec is the most European. Yeah, I love when I first went to America and I saw Boston. To this day, I'm like, yeah. Americans sleep on Boston. If you want the Arctic, go to the islands where the USSR tested nuke. Yeah, it's on my list of places I can't go but would still like to go, Dasher. Yeah, I would love to go to Svalbard. Also need to go to Finland to visit my friend. Yeah, I think Svalbard is on my bucket list. I think I want to go in the summer to Svalbard. Because of the permanent night thing. But because I'm going to the Arctic Circle, I'm going to be... I've checked the sunrise times, chat. The sun is going to rise at 11 a.m. and it's going to set at like 2:15. It's like such a ridiculous day. And so it's going to be... I'm going to wake up and it's going to be dark, even if we wake up late. And then I'm going to... Like, I don't know. I'll eat lunch in the dark, you know? It's going to be fun. But is poutine better than sloppy American bar food? I think you'll find it's pronounced poutine. You didn't pronounce it. It's a comment, but I'm still going to riff on you for that. Why are you even doing this, says SMG? Oh. Why do I even do anything? Have you ever seen the Midnight Sun toy can? I have not. Sorry, I've got a hole in my foot, and I just put my foot down in a place it shouldn't have been. Yeah, chat, I don't like that I have a hole in my foot. It definitely feels like it shouldn't be there. So it's like here in the winter. Yeah, I guess during December, the sun doesn't rise for like 2 weeks in a row because it's in the Arctic Circle, which I think is fun. Okay, so make a crafting table, make a bunch of slabs. So many slabs, too many slabs. Make a place for that. Are you actually moving or auto-clicking, says Razor Gamer. You know, if I was auto-clicking, do you think it would take away from the accomplishment? Would you auto-click if you were doing this? I'm not auto-clicking. If you think I am, though, that's like a real compliment to my consistency. Oh, spooky. Okay, so now give it a break. Now let's get moving. This way we go. Which country has the best chicken tenders, says Britty No Name. The country that is closest to you. Oh no, chat. Oh no. I think we're gonna be barely touching the tips of these. Yeah, I think these hills all go up to like about Y200. It looks beautiful here, by the way. Like, this is making me want to go to Arctic Circle. Why'd you have a hole in your foot? Oh, I don't even know. I think I put on the wrong socks one day or something. It hurts a lot. Sometimes. I really like Slim Chicken's tenders. Oh, Slim Chickens. Slim Chickens is, I think, the UK's Raising Cane's. And I don't say that lightly. Should I just craft more slabs? No. Let's not craft slabs yet. In Soviet Russia, slabs auto-click you. Yeah, I just joined. What's happening, says Abel Jackson. Abel Jackson, I'm walking out to where there is dripstone and an exposed mountain. The nearest one I've found is 19,000 blocks away. And so what I must do is I must bridge the blocks, those 19,000 blocks. Slim Chickens is overpriced. Yeah, it is. Right? Or is that what quality costs? You know, I've been thinking about, like, fast food a lot. Because fast food isn't cheap anymore, at least to most people's estimations. And some of that is the fact that, you know, we're getting old. Money is just worth less. I could buy a Freddo for 5p when I was young. Now I can buy 0 Freddos for 20p. What will you do when you run out of blocks? I don't know. I really don't know, Vera. Kill myself and then sleep with my sister is the only logical combination. Which of those two things is less moral, though? That's the real question. What's one place you'd really love to visit with anywhere, no restrictions, says Lysababs? I think I really want to see the South Pacific. There's a bunch of islands there. Oh, we're so close. Chat, if the terrain was just slightly taller, I would have a bunch of blocks. It'd be a pain to collect them, but it would... Ooh, my screen just turned off. We're fine. It'd be a pain to collect them. Yeah, I don't know. I went to a bar yesterday where everything was Wisconsin, Wisconsin, Wisconsin. I asked if we could at least share a mutual dislike of Ohio. They were cool with it. It's the funny thing about the in-group problem, right? Is like, if you scream that everyone is part of this thing, then you implicitly feel like you're not part of the thing if you do not share that value. Chat, look at this. I think we're not making it now. Unless those trees are the right height, but I highly doubt they are. They're not worth going to, even if they are. I didn't bring, like, slabs and trees. I didn't... We might be... Toykat's about to be in a out-of-context clip with these inset comments. It's my secret plan to make more people watch skygloo. Think about it. Toycat, on the front page of Reddit, streamer advocates incest, says, you know what? I'll kill myself if you don't agree with me. You know? And then everyone's watching and they're like, what's he doing in the background? Then the response has to be, well, he's bridging out to an igloo. It's really dumb. He's trying to survive above Y200. And then everyone watches skygloo. Boom, profit. $1 billion. Maybe get a snow golem in unlimited blocks. I am missing a pumpkin for that. But otherwise, that'd be a good idea. Yeah, chat. I think I screwed the pooch on this one. If you look at the number of... I need to get out to, I think it's 11,000x. I don't know what number I was using yesterday to work it out. But whatever number it was wrong. And I don't think there's a mountain coming my way. Looks like there's an ancient city down there. Oh, that would explain a lot. Yeah. Should we use your fishing rod and try and get the warden up? So, okay, chat. If I could kill... That is the highest pillager outpost I've seen in a while. If I went all this way and killed a pillager and then got his bottle, that would be good. But I don't have gravel. If I could pick up a bunch of gravel, I could use that for good. But I don't think I can do that. Yeah, no. Okay, so that's a maybe consolation prize. Chat, I'm powering through anyway. I'm powering through. 11,000 minus. So I need to go 3,000 more blocks. So in that time, I need to find somewhere with blocks for me to get. It's not going to be over there. You can tell, chat. You can look at it. You can see. It isn't going to be high enough if it's still regular trees. If we get a wandering trader, he could sell me a bunch of logs, but I couldn't buy them. Yeah, no. You got to get you some water. I could drop my lava somewhere. Yeah, I should have brought a trident with Riptide. Then at least I could have waited. Although, actually, no, a trident with Riptide. I'd have died if I used one, chat, because I'd have ended up here, where it snows, not rains, and then I would have died. So I'm glad I didn't try trident with Riptide. Oh well, we'll find out. So, let's go on a road trip all the way back. That's my type of road trip. You should be able to rob wandering traders. Honestly, visit Winchester. I really agree. Like, I have this, like, thing in... I think that realism is not the most important thing in video games. But there are times where you really start to question, like, but why doesn't that work? And when that happens, it raises questions about everything else. Creative copy, go check out those hills. Oh, that's a good idea, actually. That's a good idea. What coordinates are we at? 7,800, 7,700. Let's go find out. Oh, wait, I might die if I respawn into this world because of the slabs. I'll wait till the next time I go to bed, and then we'll go find out. What are the rules of this world? You're not allowed under Y200. Exactly, Peen. I cannot go below Y200, and so if I want to get things like dripstone, that are usually very easy in a normal Minecraft world, I've got to travel thousands of blocks. So I've made lots of slabs to get myself out this far, but my problem is I've miscalculated how many slabs I need, and so as I make it out here, I am finding that I'm probably not going to make it. And so I'm desperately hoping that we find something. I see lava. That's something. Also, I think that it might be boring, but it genuinely seems like Riptide Trident can only end badly without an Elytra. Yeah, I think you might be right, Casualology. I think you might be right. So, why are we after dripstone? I have lava, and so once I get dripstone, I'll be able to duplicate my lava infinitely. That is what will allow me to do this. We will be good. Did you locate the dripstone beforehand? I did a lot of searching for lava above Y200, and when I did, I found dripstone. Could you do the thing where you place a slab, then delete the one behind you and collect that? That'll be not fun times. That's actually a good point, Polly. Okay, I'm going to go as far forward as I can. And if I'm within sight distance, then I'll just start destroying the slabs behind me. Oh, but I could get myself trapped if I do that wrong. I'm going to start destroying every other block. And then, yeah, I'll do Parkour Society to get back. If/when you get an Elytra, will you be able to fly below Y200? Nope. Also, right now, I don't see a conceivable way that I get an Elytra. Not without modifying the world, or finding a very serious bug. Can you make a cobblestone generator for slabs? If I could find water, how would I find... Actually, okay, wait. You might be on something. How do you get water from packed ice, chat? Can you do it? Does it melt into water? If I can make a cobble generator... Chat, how do I get water? If I can get water, I can make a cobble generator. Don't do it. It's all risk for no reason. In Parkour Civilization, no one goes for the lava. Or ice. How do I get ice block? How do I get... Can a packed ice block be turned into water? Melt it? But does packed ice melt? Or do I have to do something... that Cauldron can make water? No? Oh, okay. How much... Oh, yeah. Okay, that's what we have to do. We have to get out of this and then wait patiently for it to rain. It is stupid. It is very stupid, but I think it is what we should do. So we get out and we wait and we rain. So now I hope that it rains in the next few days. Bizarrely enough. I'm just going to keep on bridging. I don't think that that's tall enough. Just looking at it, vibes, chat. It's a very beautiful terrain. Like, these mountains are really making things great, but otherwise some real problems. Won't collect rain in the snow biome, though. Yeah, exactly. We have to get out over there. But it looks like the snow keeps going, which is a concern. Also, that's a blacksmith over there. So that's fun. I kind of want to just pour lava all over a village, chat. I think I would get some joy from that. Does that make me a bad person? Okay, so chat, you can look at my dilemma. Oh, do you like looking at my dilemma? That tiger to the right could work. Yeah, weirdly enough. If it starts raining, I'll go into that tiger. But hopefully we get out of the tiger first. Do you have any blocks that the lava won't burn? I kind of want to just drop lava onto this place. Any blocks the lava won't burn? No. Yeah, I think we wait for water, and then I'm going to make a cobblestone generator in the sky. Oh, I see the problem with making a cobblestone generator out of wood, actually. It'd have to be made out of crafting tables or something dumb. I could make it, though. I've got enough crafting table material. Could you start a world in the Nether on Bedrock, or is that just a Java thing? You can't start a world in the Nether in Java, too, without something weird going on. I don't think so, at least. Unless that's an option I've just never seen. Okay, chat. So I have now 700 blocks of slabs. That won't get me even through this biome. It won't get me over there. It might get me over there. It would probably get me over to those hills. But I don't think it's worth going to the hills if they're not. Oh no, chat. Okay, so this is a precarious situation to be in. It's a very precarious situation to be in. I think I have to go all the way back home. Or I have to wait for it to rain and make a crafting table cobblestone generator. Sounds insane, but I really might have to do it. Or... yeah, it's go home, cobble generator, or there happens to be some magical terrain above Y200. Yeah, well, I'm gonna check that, but I know it can't be. That's too far away. That's more than 700 blocks. Chat, I think that part 3 of this will have me genuinely walking 16,000 blocks home and then walking all the way back out here. I see no other way that this can be done. And I think that that is absolutely crazy. But absolutely crazy is the name of the stream. Yeah, what a fun... This is with the 256 stone we brought. I guess I should have brought way more stone. That's the lesson here. Go black, break ice in a mountain, build around it so it blocks up to you to grab it. So I think, though, it's all packed ice, cat. Let's go find out, though. You know, I don't want to leave it until we found that out. Okay. So, we're under 3,000 blocks from our destination. And I have almost a full 1,000 of those. But I'm under no illusion that almost 1,000 is the same as almost 3,000. And so, trapdoors don't burn. Can you create a generator with them? Oh, yeah, trapdoors don't burn too. That'd probably be the best way. Weirdly enough. Go back with a trader for a water bucket. Make a stone generator. I don't have anything the trader would want to buy from me, sadly. Okay, yeah, if I can get... If it's regular ice and not packed ice, I could stack it up and I could do something. Stephen R says you covered so much distance today. I have. Packed ice doesn't melt, unfortunately. Yeah, I've got to hope that there's some regular ice. I don't think there is, but I can imagine that behind the packed ice there might be. Or underneath it, or like... It's worth trying. I've got a silk touch pickaxe. Thanks, Twee. And, yeah. The additional time it takes to mine each cobblestone, you might as well get logs back at the base. That might be true, honestly. That might actually end up being true. Okay, chat, I'm looking now. Oh, okay, that's regular ice, right? Oh, don't want to fall in. Is that regular ice to my left there, or is that just the top of packed ice? That's regular ice. That's regular ice there, too. Okay, okay. So, that is also a regular ice block, right? It is. Oh, okay, there's goats here. I think I just have to kill the goats, honestly. That seems ridiculous, but I think it is the logically consistent move here. He's only got one horn, but I'm keeping my eyes on him. So I can't drop blocks down low enough. I think might be my one big problem here. I can get blocks. Can I break this block, actually? No. I'm as low as I can go. I'm pretty sure, at least. So if I can't break a... Like, I can break the block above it for sure. No, I can't. I can break the top of it just about. So if I sit here, maybe can I break it? No, but I can... Okay, so that's oh, it's blue ice. Okay, that's a different block though. Is that blue ice, chat? I could go home with a bunch of ice, which is nice. So is that regular ice there? I think it is. So we now just place a bunch of blocks around it. Again, being very careful not to be rammed out of the way. Okay, so this is an interesting one. This is kind of undone territory. I can touch the snow block there, but not the block itself underneath. That is an interesting quirk of behavior. Okay, so I need to put a block on the side of this one here. It's very tricky to nail that. Nope, balls that up. Okay, so yeah, this is a bit of a nightmare. So is any of this actually we can just break. If any of this is just ice, then my life gets easier. Is anything ice here? None of that is ice. Is this ice? None of this is ice. Okay, but that one there, this block. If I can just... No, is that even ice, chat? I don't see ice anymore. Was it below this one? Yeah, that's an ice block, but I can't mine it, so it's a moot point anyway. So in theory, I could have gotten that ice block, I could have melted it, used it for water, used it for a cobblestone generator. That one over there also looks quite promising. Oh, I hear it go. I don't want to be rammed. Yep, chat. I've got to go home. Use torches to melt ice. Oh, that's an interesting point. Can I scoop up something from that low down? Oh, I'm hearing something I don't like. Okay, is that a cat, by the way? No, it's a wolf. Still an interesting point, but... Okay, this has been a delight, chat. But I have made a big mistake. And so instead of the triumphant victory, instead we have a walk of shame ahead of us. This has been Skygloo, and I hope that you enjoyed it so far. Because I'll see you in the next one. This has been a fun stream. I'm amazed at how long it takes to build such a long bridge. But I had a lot of fun during it. Just remember, don't share anything from this stream. It's against the law. And the moral code of 2034. Okay. Thank you. Goodbye. Oh, go check out today's video.